6 o'clock, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs Studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Monday Night Football last night, and the Cowboys improved to 4-5-1 on the season, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16. Dak Prescott threw for 4 touchdown passes, and wide receiver George Pickens led the way with 9 receptions for 144 yards and a touchdown. Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, in his debut since being traded from the Jets, recorded 1.5 sacks. In other NFL news, a new starting quarterback in New York, as the Jets will be starting Tyrod Taylor this week against the Baltimore Ravens, as the team announced they will be benching Justin Fields. Also, Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is being placed on injured reserve after he suffered a knee injury this past Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. Penix's season is expected to be over, but will go through more tests for more clarity. Kirk Cousins will take over as the starter in Atlanta. College hoops, number 20, Tennessee Vols are 4-0 after they beat Rice last night, 91-66. Felix Okpara with a game-high 20 points, and freshman standout Nate Ament had a 19-point, 10-rebound double-double. In college football news yesterday, Virginia Tech has hired James Franklin as their next head football coach a month after Franklin was fired from Penn State. The Hokies are the first Power 4 football program to fill a coaching vacancy this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, very good Tuesday morning to you in Nashville, Tennessee, and welcome in. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee at 104.5 The Zone. Scooters Coffee is locally owned in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. We've got some unprecedented things happening in the SEC. Like, there's a lot of things that we're living for the very first time that people are going to read about in textbooks. And one day they're going to read about the Coaching Carousel of 2025 in their social studies textbooks in elementary schools all around America. We'll tell you what that means coming up in hour number 2. VolQuest's Austin Price at 8:20. The Tennesseans' Nick Suss talking Titans at 9:20. NFL Week 11 reaction in 15 minutes. And as always, your phone calls at 615-737-1045 on this Tuesday, November the 18th. Good morning, Ramon Foster.
Hey, good morning, Will. Happy Tuesday, man.
You as well?
Yeah. A lot of foolishness around this Lane Kiffin situation, man. I know we're going to talk about it a little bit later. I don't even want to call it foolishness. The different conversations that I had around college coaches. I wasn't sure if it was AI, if it was what's his name, Desmond from on the game day.
Desmond Howard.
Desmond Howard had a video yesterday. I probably should have sent it to the group chat, but I didn't think it was worth it because I can just really summarize it for us right now. But he's doing a slow walk conversation into his phone in selfie mode, and he was just like, "Hey, I think it's something we all should be paying attention to and keep our eye on." And he just said, "It's about that Texas job." He said, "Don't be surprised if that Texas job has." Let's just say it has a vacancy.
We've entered the don't be surprised portion of the college football carousel. Lovely.
I didn't think Desmond Howard was that type of guy. I didn't think he was a predictor. He's really, really close to a lot of those teams because of the production that they do on College Game Day. I'm sure his conversation with people that talk, that have power, have the ability to, make those type of moves. He wouldn't just say that is what I was thinking. And, the whole Sarkeesian Texas and Texas is fine school. But to have Desmond Howard say that was out of the blue to me. But as he said, now I will have my eyes on what happens in Austin.
Yeah, there's a lot more tangible stuff going on in Oxford that we can talk about, which we'll do that coming up at 7:20. There is a lot to unpack with family visits happening in Gainesville and Baton Rouge for a coach that's still in Oxford that is being given ultimatums. And then you just have Desmond Howard just dropping a grenade in there. of just, hey, by the way, Texas.
But by the way, Texas.
That is the world we're living in college athletics in 2025. We stream the show live for you, 104.5 The Zone TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. There is no Twitter at the moment because it is down, because those things tend to happen since they started calling it X and not Twitter. Last night in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys finish off Week 11 with a 33-16 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. They are 4-5-1, and Dak Prescott looked pretty good in this game. A couple of touchdowns for him, 3 touchdowns, I believe, for him total in this win. Quentin Williams making his debut. Vegas just does not look very good. They are not a very serious outfit, and I'm not sure Pete Carroll's going to be there much longer than the 2025 season.
No, him or Geno for that matter. What happened to Geno is the question.
Man, I really don't know. Maybe he just doesn't have the right offensive minds around him. It has fallen off very quickly. He has turned back into a pumpkin.
Yes, he has.
Geno Smith has. Maybe he's gotten old. People a lot smarter than me could give a lot better answer about that. All I know is it doesn't look good. 27-42, 238, 4 sacks, a touchdown, a pick, a 77 quarterback rating. 4 touchdowns for Dak Prescott last night.
Dak cooked last night. He's finding his wide receivers. He's throwing them open, too, is what I saw, man. George Pickens, Lord. He looked like a man that's got his bearings underneath him, man, and he's fighting for another contract. It was kind of cool watch him kind of play the way he did. CeeDee Lamb can just eat off of that. They're back and forth. They got a 1-2 punch right now with George Pickens, especially with the maturity that he's taken down to Dallas right now. That's not anything. This George Pickens, this version of him, and I've heard people say this out of that Dallas camp, they've had 0 issues out of him. And that's a situation where I don't think I know George didn't want to be in Pittsburgh. And now you're starting to see players that do what they want to when they feel like it. And he's a player now that's kind of got his stuff together, and also his money on the line too. So we'll see if he and CeeDee Lamb's relationship stays the same, if he continues to flourish the way he is so far moving forward too. But back to Vegas, Geno Smith left Seattle, and was the guy. So much so that Pete Carroll said, I'm bringing him with me. He's a resetter the way I need him to, and we're going to get you some help. The help isn't helping at all, if that makes sense. Ashton Genty, I don't know what he's going to turn into at this point. Because
warning signs on him?
He's got, in my opinion, I thought, a very savvy head coach. I thought they have a decent enough offensive line and a quarterback. Like, there was a portion in which we saw Bijan Robinson just kind of turn it on. Saquon Barkley. Like, that's the conversation that Ashton Genty was in. I think it's very, very fair to say that about him. The expectations was through the roof because the pre-draft notion was, oh, wow, he'll go to the Raiders. They got Geno. There's a run game. There's Pete Carroll. This is Marshawn Lynch 2.0 with Russell Wilson. This is going to be automatic. Most times with running backs, like, you can kind of see that they can't control their vision. They can't control breaking tackles, I feel like, from time to time, especially somebody of his stature and his reputation just running through fools, and also the breakaway speed that he showed in college also. Now, again, the same way you will judge him, the same way Abdul Carter's being judged right now, Travis Hunter, Cam Ward, you got to give it time. But watching him run the football, either their sets are very telling on when he's getting the ball. His offensive line is worse, which could be a part of it too. But there is a portion of his game to where he's not getting out of the backfield. He gets to the line of scrimmage and then gets tackled. I don't want to say easy because I don't play running back, but 6 carries, 7 yards.
Yeah, it's not good.
That's team failure.
It's not good.
Watching it.
12 carries for 27 as a team yesterday, Vegas.
So it could be a team thing, but the same criticism has to be given as far as it being underwhelming right now.
Yeah, I mean, this draft class so far does not totally overwhelm you. In a lot of the picks early in it, including Ashton Genty, including Abdul Carter, who has half a sack this season and was suspended for the opening drive. A lot of opening drive suspensions going on, too. There was one in this game yesterday, too, with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, yeah. Sure was.
Do we ever get any clarity on that postgame? I went to bed.
Bro, I'm right there. I probably beat you to bed.
Anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't get no clarity on that one.
Somebody already did ask in the F&M Bank chat this morning and say, just asking for a totally different question, saying, would you pay George Pickens to be wide receiver 1 if he hits the market? Oh, I can tell you this team's not going to.
I think Dallas keeps him more than anything. Wouldn't you expect that as good as the tandem is?
There's a lot that you expect Dallas to do that they don't do.
That's true, too. That's true, too.
But, I mean, this organization has made it very clear that anyone with even a remote yellow flag about their character off the field and about their personality and the way that meshes with the locker room, they have no interest.
What's the thing? Wide receiver 1s don't hit the market like that, also, right?
That is correct.
I think that's what we're learning from Calvin's situation. I think we also learned from Cincinnati, just to be real with you, how they kept T. Higgins.
Yeah, if even Cincinnati's keeping around receivers, the cheapest organization in the NFL, then everyone is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that makes no sense to me.
The only way you do that is if you get draft compensation back for him.
Well, I'm not sure if they will. I never fully understood.
No, they won't.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay,
I'm not suggesting they will. I just mean in the NFL right now, if you're getting rid of a good receiver, you're way more likely to trade him than you are just to let him walk.
No doubt about it. But yeah, this rookie class got to figure it out, man, because the only other thing that makes you question them is Brock Bowers had a heck of a season with that same Raiders team because talent just sometimes outshine you in those moments.
Brian Schottenheimer, the Dallas Cowboys head coach, said after the game about the CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens first drive suspensions, saying they informed the players of the disciplinary action earlier Monday, said there were some things that were missed, so had a conversation with those guys, and that was easy. But you look at the energy they play with, they literally jump-started the offense that they got back in. They didn't hang their heads. That's why I love those guys. CeeDee Lamb said, I'm not going in depth on that. Honestly, I'm not. I'm sorry, I'm not.
I guess he's not.
George Pickens would also not elaborate. So there you go.
Look at George, man. He had a heck of a night, though, man. His ability to just beat DBs was fascinating. He's been that type of guy since high school, though. So this is normal to him. I guess he just had to go play for a quarterback that he really wanted to. He fought, I would say, through his antics and how his time was in Pittsburgh to get out. And it is crazy to see the production, the growth that he's had. It's not crazy because the talent's always been there, but to actually see him fly straight, although he had a situation where he got benched last night, that's also the other thing, too. You got to be a comfortable friggin' coach to bench a pro.
Well, especially how bad their first drive looked without those two guys.
I mean, seriously, you got to be that type of guy. So you got to ask yourself now, do they respect you more? Or do they realize you can't operate that offense without them, considering what those two wide receivers did last night?
Certainly a big contrast of quarterback play last night. Geno Smith, the 6th lowest passer rating among NFL full-time starting quarterbacks this season. Dak Prescott, 9th highest with 2,500 yards, 21 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. Dak Prescott has the 5th most passing yards in the NFL through 11 weeks. Pretty good.
Real good.
Pretty good. You get two guys like that to throw to consistently in an offensive line that protects you, and a coach that's called plays for a long time in the NFL. It's a good recipe we're trying to put together here. 615-737-1045 is our number. We are live for the 1045 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. We'll play a game of reaction or overreaction. NFL Week 11 wrap-up coming up next.
It's Ramon and Will here for Window Nation. Good people, man. You want your home to be comfortable year-round, your family protected, and an investment you can feel great about for years. And also, you just want it to look good. Window Nation's got tons and tons of styles of windows that are available to you. But right now, you can take advantage of Windows Nation's end-of-year sale through the end of this month. Well, they're giving you 50% off all window styles. Plus, they're just really good at what they do.
Window Nation measures 3 times to ensure your windows fit perfectly and keep your home comfortable year-round. Their installation crews, Ramon, finish the job in 1 day or less, so you can enjoy the rest of this nice fall season with minimal disruption. Make sure you head online, windownation.com, and hurry because this sale ends soon. Take advantage of the end-of-year sale through November with 50% off all window styles online at windownation.com. Ramona Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone, 615-737-1045. Are we reacting or overreacting to some comments wrapping up Week 11 in the NFL? With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling, at Ramon and Will on Twitter, where you can follow the show and send your thoughts straight to us on the following statements in the league. The Chiefs' reign of terror, Ramon Foster.
Yeah, man.
In the AFC West is over. Reaction or overreaction?
I think it's a reaction.
They're 5-5.
Yeah, they're 5-5. I think it's a reaction. Because if you look at the way they won last year, it's the same setup. Except they close out those games. It's a matter of 1 and 2 plays of games is what you're getting. I also look at the division and say this about them too. Teams have been slowly building up, especially the Denver Broncos, on how to beat them defensively, and they've done that. They went out and got players. Patrick Surtain, one of the best players out there to combat the passing game that they have. They got defensive linemen that can stop the run. They got speed. Now they can play the same exact game that Kelsey and Patrick Mahomes play outside of the pocket too. It's just the difference is those teams have right now, in my opinion, the defenses are playing better to combat what Kansas City is. I just simply think it's a reaction, and it's not like they're getting blown out. Last year, they went 10-0 in these types of moments. This year, they're splitting them because teams have somewhat caught up to what the method is for the Kansas City Chiefs. This was bound to happen at some point. Mm-hmm. Teams catch up. The same things happened with the Patriots. They went, what was it, a Dynasty 3, and then they had a lull, and then they got a few more right after that. At some point, they're going to have a reset, and that's going to be without Kelsey. That's going to be a different version of what this offense is. And Patrick Mahomes is going to he has to figure out at some point what his next stage of playing quarterback is, because the wizardry is somewhat dying off, either because Kelsey's growing older, guys picking up on his tendencies, and here's the other thing, too. Guys are hitting Patrick Mahomes now. I think his pump fakes that he's giving outside of the pocket, guys aren't falling for as much. When you jump in the air, they're just simply going and attacking him. There's also no Tyreek, just to add that in there, too. I don't know if they have.
And there hasn't been for a few years now.
Yeah.
Bill Barnwell put this out over the weekend. ESPN.com said Chiefs, who were 10-0 in one-score games last year, are now 0-5 in those same games. 0-5 in one-score games this year.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's happened? Why has their luck in one-score games just completely flipped on its head?
It's a matter of other teams, in my personal opinion, just simply getting better. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, that team has gotten better. That team has found the clutch gene in itself. I mean, you got to think about the way they won. They won in on a kick at home also. You look at what the Chargers are defensively, they go after you. They hold on to the ball. They play attacking styles of defense, too. It's simply the rest of his division, specifically, or other teams in the AFC, have caught up to what they are, and I think it's more defense. They have, in my personal opinion, emphasized their offensive just power on everybody else. And the league is somewhat adjusted for the good teams that they're facing. The teams they're supposed to beat, they are at times, but I can't look at Kansas City and say they were supposed to beat the Denver Broncos this past weekend. I won't say, they outplayed them. They outplayed them this past weekend. It was tight, and when you play at home in those type of settings right there, Bo Nix cooked-ish, and that defense was just phenomenal. One scores will usually just amount to turnovers.
Couple big plays.
Running plays here and there. That's it.
And they outgained, or they were outgained in that game, 342 to 311. It was their one turnover that ultimately made a pretty big difference, and neither team could really run the ball either. I mean, pretty similar statistically in terms of what each of them did, with Kansas City throwing for 249 and Bo Nix and Denver throwing for 283. I mean, I think ultimately it's regression in a stat that is pretty commonly a coin flip. Mm-hmm. The way you play in one-score games long-term, you end up being close to 50-50. The fact that they were so skewed one direction, Ramon, I think covered up some issues that Kansas City had last year. Yeah. And the fact that they forced so many turnovers, just made so many plays when they had to, it made their whole franchise and quote-unquote football program look a little bit healthier and a little bit in a better position than probably it really was.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, they are the last team I'm going to want to play in December and January.
Yep.
NFL.com today with the standings in the AFC has 3 wildcard teams: Buffalo, which is crazy, LA Chargers, and Jacksonville Jaguars in the 5, 6, and 7 spots. The Texans, Chiefs, and Dolphins are all Ravens. Texans, Chiefs, and Ravens are all 5 and 5, right on the outside looking in. Ramon, what do you think the playoff probability is for the Kansas City Chiefs at 5 and 5? What percent chance do you think NFL.com is giving them to make the playoffs?
15%.
51%.
50. They're still going to make the playoffs.
Probably.
Oh, my God.
So, although their reign of terror in the AFC West, I believe, yes, is definitely over with the lead the Broncos have over them now, there is still reason to believe that they're going to get in. That game against Houston looms really large on December 7th.
Yes, it does.
They host the Texans on December 7th, but here is the schedule remaining for Kansas City. They host the Colts this weekend. That is the game of the week in the NFL this weekend, in my opinion. They go to Dallas on Thanksgiving. Of course they do. They play on every holiday. They go back home for 2 against the Texans on December 7th. The Chargers, who, by the way, cannot block anybody now with their 2 tackles gone, and all of a sudden that really good offensive line has not protected Justin Herbert at all, which we're going to talk about in a minute.
Yep.
They come to Tennessee on December the 21st to take on the Titans. Then Christmas Day, they host the Broncos before hosting the Raiders at the end of the year. How many games do you think they're favored in those? I mean, I don't think they're favored over Indy at this point.
No.
Maybe that one's tough.
Titans, Raiders, Chargers, 3?
They'll be favored at home over the Broncos. They were favored on the road against the Broncos.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
I thought you said the Broncos were favored in that game.
No.
Okay, all right.
We talked about it Friday. It was, I think it was Chiefs 2.5, Chiefs
Okay,
3.
yeah.
It was Chiefs -3. That's what it was.
Okay.
So they'll be favored at Dallas. They'll be favored at home against Houston. They'll be favored at home against the Chargers. They'll be favored at home against the Broncos, at the Titans, and against the Raiders. They'll be favored in 6 of the last 7 games.
So being favored, I feel like is kind of skewed in that realm. Okay, because you can say they're being favored because is it just a perception of what they are? Like actually winning those games, I don't know if they beat Dallas. So especially with how that defense can come together and push the pocket up the middle too. If Quentin Williams is going to be a demon that we think he is. Also, they got outside coverage that can play well. And you said that game is at Dallas. Yes, at Dallas also.
They just can't stop anybody.
They'll be favored.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they win that one. I don't know if they win the Colts either. Houston, I think, is a wash. They win that one. Chargers, if they can't protect, is fascinating. I give them 4 games probably that they can win down the stretch here.
So the AFC playoff picture is so condensed with 7 teams at 4 losses or less, including obviously division leaders. Denver is the 1 seed. New England is the 2. Indy is the 3, just because they played 1 less game than Denver and New England. Pittsburgh is the 4, leading the AFC North, now just 1 game ahead of the Baltimore Ravens. Buffalo, LA, Jacksonville, 5, 6, and 7. Then you have Houston, Kansas City, Baltimore, Miami, who is now in the mix a little bit at 4 and 7. They've got some easier games coming up, but still only have a 1% chance to make the playoffs. You're going to probably have to have at least 9 wins, probably 10.
I agree.
Probably going to, I mean, there might be a 9-8 team with a winning record that gets left out, the way things are looking this year.
It's not far-fetched to think that that's going to be the case. I think it's more parity right now, considering Kansas City doesn't have the reign that they have. The Eagles don't have the reign that they have. Like, there's no clear dominant team except for the Patriots, and I think more people still have questions about them, questions about Chicago. How sustainable is it what they're doing right now? Those, to me, those teams, and of course, you got Baltimore plowing back like they do. Still got questions. I mean, Daniel Jones got to do this for the duration of the season, though, too. Like, Jonathan Taylor pays dividends for him.
Yeah,
but,
sure.
like, I think if you're looking at it, I feel like we've talked about it a little bit, too. You still got to see if they can do that. And whatever Daniel Jones and the Colts had happen against Pittsburgh, it's not going to be what other teams do to them later in the season, too.
Why are your questions about them different than New England?
Than New England? Oh, I have the same questions about New England. Oh, no. I wouldn't excuse them.
You said there's only really one dominant team.
No, well, because of record. That would be it. And because of their schedule, too. But to your point about them being able to close out, can Vrabel still push this team to play bully ball, be smart as they have been as of late? I just still look at what they have going on and question it. How good is it down the stretch and when those cold weather games and still with a young quarterback, too? I believe in it. But I wouldn't trust it fully just yet because it's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Tom Brady, et cetera, et cetera. They got to prove that to me the same way I feel like Caleb Williams does in Chicago.
Yeah, that's the reality of the situation this year, that the 4 teams leading divisions are quarterbacked by Bo Nix, Drake May, Daniel Jones, and Aaron Rodgers through Week 11, just as we all expected.
Come on.
Jaguars beat the Los Angeles Chargers 35-6. Over the weekend. Is it an overreaction, Ramon, to say the Jacksonville Jaguars are a playoff team in 2025?
Is it an overreaction? Based upon the AFC South right now, I don't think so. And I didn't think they would be much better without what's his name, man, being on IR.
Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yeah, Brian Thomas
Hunter?
Jr. and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter especially. But I almost want to fault the Chargers on this more than anything.
Okay.
Justin Herbert questions as far as his ability to play quarterback in the NFL. Why is he given a pass? I feel like that game was a twin game for me, if we're being honest, between he and Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence bested him.
2 backup tackles for Justin Herbert.
But I look at his career so far, and I still say, the passes that he's getting, because I will always challenge the quarterback to say you're supposed to elevate your team. I know the backup tackles are in right now, but I also look at him and just say he's supposed to be, I feel like, taking that next step. I feel like the reason they are where they are and which it didn't show up this past weekend against the Jaguars is because they got a run-heavy style of ball right now, too, with the coach. That's their mentality. It's to also have a good defense, although that didn't show up this weekend either.
You putting him and Trevor Lawrence in the same neighborhood there?
Yes, I am.
I don't love that comparison.
Why
I think
is
Justin Herbert this season has a 94 quarterback rating. That's still certainly above average. Trevor Lawrence is a 79. And Trevor has had a much worse season this year. 59% completion percentage for Trevor Lawrence. Justin Herbert, even without 2 starting offensive linemen, still at 67% in terms of his completion percentage, in terms of his ability to operate within that offense. If you can keep Justin Herbert from running away from pressure when the pocket breaks down, you can have success. And Jacksonville came into this game bottom of the NFL in sacks per pass attempt. Their pressure rate has not been good. They sacked Justin Herbert 3 times in this game, including one that sent him into the blue tent. Limited them to a drop back success rate of just 28%, a season best quarterback pressure rate at 50%. And offensively, they just decided to become a run first offense. And honestly, I think Liam Cohen made a good adjustment because Trevor Lawrence has not proven that he can really be the focal point. Like the pass game being the focal point of the offense has not been the right method of operation for Jacksonville without Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas Jr. And with the injuries they have at wide receiver and having Parker Washington and they recently traded for Jacoby Myers be the top 2 weapons at receiver with Brenton Strange at tight end, they just decided let's go behind Travis Etienne and the rookie Bashal Tutin and see if that's enough. And it was. They ran for 147 and 3 touchdowns on 34 attempts. And then all of a sudden in the third quarter, Trevor Lawrence goes 6 of 7 for 77. Does enough, finds Tim Patrick for a touchdown, and it's 28-6 earlier in the fourth, and this game's pretty much over.
Yeah.
That defense's ability to disrupt the L.A. passing attack and get in Justin Herbert's lap, ultimately the difference. I think Jacksonville, if they can get a little bit healthier at wide receiver and help out the quarterback and continue to play like that on defense, is a playoff team. I'm just still skeptical that Trevor Lawrence is going to make the plays when they need him to, for them to be able to beat a Kansas City kind of team. I know they beat them head-to-head earlier this year, but that was with a lot of different players on that offense that are not healthy now, including Travis Hunter.
Right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars are in. I'm just trying to figure out the teams that could knock them out. They don't have to play the Ravens.
Kansas City. That's what
Kansas City.
Yeah. Kansas City or Houston. Yeah. I know they just had that game against Houston, but I think Houston's comeback against them, down by 19 in the fourth quarter, that could be the difference between either of those teams making the postseason this year. Jacksonville still has 4 road games left, 3 home games. They go to Arizona, to Nashville, of course, in 2 weeks to take on the Titans. They still got to play Indy twice. They do get the Jets, and they go to Denver, and then they play the Titans again at home.
Yeah.
So 4 divisional games still left for the Jacksonville Jaguars under first-year head coach Liam Cohen, who held the Chargers to 135 total yards on Sunday.
In an NFL game.
That's crazy.
Yes, it is crazy.
That is crazy. Final statement for you. Overreaction or proper reaction? The NFC champion will be either the Eagles or Rams.
Over Eagles or Rams?
If I'm giving you those two teams or the field to win the NFC.
It's proper. But Lane Johnson also has his Liz Frank injury right now. Also, it's not going to go to IR, but that's problematic now. Unless they will put a steel plate in his cleat to get him through games. That's the only issue, because Fred Johnson hadn't been good at tackle, and he's been in also. Then, of course, what offense are you going to get? Are they going to be able to run first? Does Saquon finally turns it on to the version that he was last year? Or does Jalen Hurts also decide to throw the football down the field to A.J. Brown? Those are the issues that they have to figure out. Defensively, they're getting it done the way you need them to. It was a tough win they had this past weekend against the Lions. It's between those two. I want to put Chicago in there, but I don't at the same time. Chicago's winning clutch games right now, man.
They're winning a lot of one-score games. They're 7-3.
And how fragile is that moving forward, too? Chicago, I feel like, has a say in it, and you can never discount Matthew Stafford. I say it's those 3. I don't want to discount Chicago.
Chicago is 5-1 in close games. I don't think they'd be the third team.
Who's your third team, man?
Seattle Seahawks. Who come to Nashville this upcoming weekend.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'd also put San Francisco ahead of Chicago, to be honest with you.
Brock Purdy cooked this weekend.
Yeah, he played better.
He put the Mac Jones issue to bed.
Yes,
ASAP.
He absolutely did. No, I just think that Seattle is still pretty balanced. The run game questions for me about the Seahawks are I think the thing that holds them back from the top 2 teams. If you were giving me L.A., Philly, or the field, I'm taking L.A. or Philly to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Gotcha.
4 interceptions of Sam Darnold by the Rams defense the other day. They still had to withstand a last-second field goal attempt from Jason Myers in Seattle to try to win that game. But 21-19, Seattle with 414 total yards. I think the Seahawks can win any type of game. I think they can win high-scoring games. I think they can win with their defense. I think Philly concerns me in the way that they can only win kind of grind it out, slow, defensive battle games, but they're also just really freaking good at it. Their defense is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. There is no weakness. Adoree Jackson was kind of the weakness early in the season, but now that you put Jalen Phillips up front, and they can get after the passer a bit more quickly, you're asking those corners, or that corner specifically, to not cover for as long. And Jalen Phillips has taken that defense to another level. And if Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter stay healthy in the middle of that defense, they're loaded at linebacker with Nakobe Dean, with obviously Zach Bond, and then the rookie Jahad Campbell. On the back end, we know what they are at safety and at corner. Now that they have a pass rush and a legitimate front 4 again, like Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis are batting down footballs left and right. That's what created the interception for Cooper DeJean the other night. That was essentially the difference in that game. 16-9 over the Detroit Lions, who were 0 for 5 on 4th down and 0 for their first 5 on 3rd down. Give me L.A. or Philly over the field as of November the 18th. That could change, but as of today, that's who I think is representing the NFC.
To your point, they just win ugly.
It's their only way of winning, but they're just so good at it that who am I to doubt that they can sustain this all the way through January?
Should not deny it at all. It's just ugly. Like you said, between Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, like you said, 5 batted passes at the line of scrimmage this past week. And I think they had 10 pass deflections on the entire night against the Detroit Lions, who like to pass the football around too. They made it hectic as heck for Jared Goff this past weekend, which is what you want from your defense, specifically up front. That allows everybody else to do their job. And Cooper DeJean, he cold. He's nice.
Finally got a regular season interception.
He's nice, man.
On Sunday Night Football.
Yes, he did.
615-737-1045. Tennessee basketball in action last night. Why, I thought 2 players specifically really stood out in this game. Coming up next.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay though.
Wrapping up hour one this morning, Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. For the 40th consecutive game, Rick Barnes at Tennessee basketball with a win last night over a non-conference home opponent, 91-66. I'm going to quote our friend Josh Pate, Ramon. Never lose to food. Tennessee basketball did not lose to food last night. 91-66 over Rice. How about Felix Okpara? Game and career high 20 points last night. I feel like he has scored like 3 more alley-oops just since the show has started this morning. He and Jacoby Gillespie started to kind of click into high gear last night. Jacoby Gillespie with a number of post players started to kind of click into high gear in this game. I thought it was really the first time that Tennessee started to look like the team it can be all season on the offensive end. 91 points, despite the fact that Tennessee was not just pouring it in from three. They weren't necessarily bad from three in this game, but being able to score 90 and do that with as many twos as they did, with as many just live ball turnovers turning into layups as they did. What stood out to you in this game?
It was that Felix Okpara and Gillespie, both of those guys, to me, up and down the court, they're playing a lot of minutes. But also this, too, the depth that you're seeing Rick Barnes and his team play with, too. When you look at Ethan Berg also being able to come in and spell, and we're mentioning all of those guys right there, and hadn't even brought up, what's his name, Nate Ament just yet. I'm hoping at some point, and it will, and I think he's fighting it, I'm hoping his 3-ball falls at some point.
Yep.
But
4 for 4 last night from 3.
What I would say about him, though, and his 3-ball is he's following them all up. He's getting rebounds off the bounces, too. He's playing close to the rim, and he's really surgical with the ball in his hand from like 15 feet and in. It is unique watching him play. The 3-ball, of course, because it's so big in today's game, got to be clutch for him at some point, and I'm hoping it is. But we were just talking about they have so much support around him. And for that team, guys can come out and there's not a drop-off. You speak about Felix Okpara being able to play above the rim. You know who I'm going to talk about playing above the rim, man. Cade Phillips. Absolutely bammed on 2 dudes yesterday, man. That play, and I get it. I feel like Purdue did a good job. It was a couple of years ago trying to take it away. But the way Felix Okpara is playing right now, his aggressiveness, and, of course, if you bring in J.P. Estrella, who went down last night, man. They got a nice group. What I did notice, too, because Savage just brought this up, too, is we've spoken about it, too, I saw a whole lot of hustle out of Jalen Carey last night, too.
Yes, that was one of my big takeaways from this game. I tweeted it out last night.
Yeah.
Whatever buttons Rick Barnes pressed, I think he got the right response out of Jalen Carey, the Vanderbilt transfer who had 9 points to go with 5 rebounds in just 17 minutes on the floor. This was after a game against North Florida where he came in for the first time late in the second half. Rick Barnes sent a message, and I believe the message was received from Jalen Carey, who also was passing, had a couple of assists, facilitating in this game, and showed you the level of hustle and the level of attention to detail that you're going to need to have in order to play for Rick Barnes.
No doubt about it. It showed last night for me. I was glad to kind of see that be the case. He ended up getting a rebound and sprinting down the court. He still benefited from it, and also he handled the ball a little bit and took one down the lane to kind of close out the game. To me, like I said, it's the support that they have.
Yeah.
Felix Okpara, I don't even think he had a block last night, but his ability to be effective around the rim and the defense they're playing with was cool to see. And not just that, how long they are is also phenomenal last night, too. Who was their leading scorer, supposed to be their leading scorer for
Trey
Rice?
Broadnax had 5 points. 0 for 16 from the floor.
That's what I was going to say.
0 for 16 from the floor.
0 for 16.
That's tough.
That's a long night, man.
That's a lot of shots.
But the guys they had guarding him, like, for what Nate Ament didn't do behind the stripe, and you want that to get going. If he did hit those threes, he's 20. He would have had a 20 and 10. He had a double-double last
19
night.
19 and 10.
Yeah, 19 and 10. He had a double-double anyway, but his ability to stick to guys as long as he is is super cool to watch because they're trying to break him down, and his footwork is good.
Well, he's so quick.
Yeah.
He is so quick, and the way Nate Ament moves for a guy at 6'10" is not normal. He only played 25 minutes in this game, too, considering he had 3 fouls early into the second half.
Coach
And
Barnes was
one of them
livid.
was about 70 feet for the basket, which is just a frustration foul at the end of a long back and forth without a whistle. Jacoby Gillespie, Ramon, was plus 30 in this game. I thought he was terrific. 3 of 6 from 3. All 6 of Tennessee's threes were made by Ethan Berg and Jacoby Gillespie in this game. I thought Ethan Berg was outstanding. He was the other guy that really stood out to me. If Ethan Berg can give them 24 minutes, hit 3 threes, grab a couple of rebounds, and a few assists, not be in foul trouble, good on-ball defense, which I think that's going to be the struggle just from what I see in Ethan Berg, is the fact that he's kind of a sharpshooter that's going to struggle more one-on-one defending. But then you have Amari Abram who can come in.
Yep.
Amari Abram, if he keeps playing defense the way he was last night and hustling and diving on the floor for loose balls, he's going to play a lot for Rick Barnes. A lot. If you can defend with that level of hustle and attention to detail and create live ball turnovers, you are going to play a ton of basketball for Rick Barnes. The thing about this Tennessee team that excites me is that last season, Tennessee had to get live ball turnovers to give them fast break points or hit jump shots in order to score points. I think this team, Ramon, has a lot more different ways it can beat you on the offensive end. They can run half-court sets for their big men. They can rebound more of their misses from 3 or in the mid-range. There is more depth inside in that if one of those guys, and Cade Phillips, JP Estrella, who I do think is going to be okay,
It seems that way,
Rick Barnes said after the game, hoping it's nothing crazy, but other than maybe a hyperextended leg with his
That's about 3 weeks or so.
Scary injury, hopefully.
Yeah.
But with all those guys they have in the post, if one of them gets in foul trouble, you're not totally doomed inside anymore. You don't have to go 4 out, 1 in, and then all of a sudden it becomes more difficult to rebound a lot of the jump shots that you have to take. I think they've got a lot of different ways they can beat you, and that's not always been true for Tennessee basketball under Rick Barnes. They've got one really, really good formula to beat you. I think this team can win games in the 60s. I was like, they might be able to win some games in the 80s this year.
And their defense, too, is traveling with them. It's fascinating when they do something silly or they mess up defensively. Rick Barnes is pulling quick. And as soon as the horn blows, those guys just walk over to the sideline because they know they're coming out. And that's because he's got guys that can handle that type of stuff, too. Ethan Berg, too, you mentioned him a second ago. Watching him, I know he's from the Israeli national team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It looks like he's seasoned.
You can tell he's played a lot of basketball.
Yes, you can. He doesn't move like a college player like that, which, I mean, heck, with Alabama and Florida and Auburn having 25-year-olds, I mean, we might as well get you one, too.
I mean, if he can just come off the bench and hit some threes, he's going to play a lot.
Yeah, he is.
I thought it was a good performance. I thought it was their best performance of the season so far. 615-737-1045. A lot of you wanted to get in on the Cam Ward discussion yesterday. If you weren't able to get through on the phone lines, we give the number because we got time in hour 2 to get to your thoughts. We gave a Cam Ward approval rating poll out yesterday. Want to take a look at the results and ask the question, what do you need to see from Cam Ward over the final 7 games to up your level of approval on the Titans rookie quarterback? We'll dive into that coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Put Lee Company on your team and stay ahead of the game with home maintenance, repairs, and more. For as little as just $14 a month, you can become a Lee Company Plus member and receive 4 annual visits to your home for your heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical systems. Even better, Lee Company Plus members receive up to 20% off on every visit and enjoy priority service. Learn more online at leecompany.com/plus. Platinum home protection starts with a Lee Company Plus membership. There's no reason not to get in on this because you get 20% off. You get a deal from the very best service in Middle Tennessee that's been in business for over 80 years here in the area, but you also stay ahead of Mother Nature. So just for $14 a month, become a Lee Company Plus member and stay ahead of the game with 4 annual visits to your home, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical systems, you name it. Lee Company will help with it. Online at leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need.
7:02. Good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Monday Night Football last night, and the Cowboys improved to 4-5-1 on the year, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16. Dak Prescott threw for 4 touchdown passes. Wide receiver George Pickens led the way with 9 receptions for 144 yards and a touchdown. Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, in his debut since being traded from the Jets at the trade deadline, recorded 1.5 sacks. In other NFL news, a new starting quarterback in New York as the Jets are starting Tyrod Taylor this week against the Baltimore Ravens. The team announced yesterday they will bench Justin Fields. Also, Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is being placed on injured reserve after he suffered a knee injury this past Sunday against the Panthers. Penix's season is expected to be over, but will go through more tests for more clarity. Kirk Cousins will take over as the starter in Atlanta. College hoops last night, number 20 Tennessee Vols are 4-0 after they beat Rice 91-66. Felix Okpara had a game-high 20 points, and freshman standout Nate Ament had a 19-point, 10-rebound double-double. And in college football news yesterday, Virginia Tech announced that they have hired James Franklin as their next head coach. A month after Franklin was fired from Penn State, the Hokies are the first Power 4 football program to fill a head coaching vacancy this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. in beautiful Music City, USA. Ramon and Will is fueled by Scooter's Coffee. You too can be fueled by Scooter's Coffee in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Streaming the show live for you on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Twitch. With Ramon Foster and Justin Hawkins, I'm Will Bowling. Twitter's down again. Ramon, do they know that Lane Kiffin is trying to decide where he's going to coach next year and that we need updates?
Yes.
Somebody tell the good folks over at X, because that's what we say when we're criticizing it. We call it Twitter when we're actually talking about it, because I'm not saying the name change.
We
That's
can't
stupid.
say that.
We can't have Twitter being down when Lane Kiffin has got family members flying to Baton Rouge and Gainesville, which we're going to talk about here in 15 minutes.
Listen, Elon's got to outdo the government, man. Listen, they just lifted their shutdown, and Elon said, watch this. It's my turn. 30 days, man. See you after Christmas.
Second time this morning.
See you after Christmas, Will. It's essentially what we tell you right now, man. Yeah, that's Twitter for you, though. I'll forever call it Twitter. I hadn't called it X yet.
No, I don't think
I don't know if I can at this point, man. I still type in twitter.com and it just takes me to x.com, but either still.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are we doing here, man?
Well, we were going to go look back at our Cam Ward approval rating poll from yesterday, talk about the results of it, because many more people voted on it after our show went off air yesterday. And now I can't because the whole website's down, so that's tough. But we could talk about the overall topic and take the next step of it. Basically, yesterday, we disagreed. Buck Rising also disagreed with me after the show and was very vocal about it, that it is reasonable to say Cam Ward might be in a QB competition in 2026. We had a caller call in and say he wants Cam Ward and Will Levis, actually, to compete.
He did say that.
2026 quarterback job in what he called spring training here in Nashville. What do you need to see over the final 7 games, Ramon, to up your approval rating level on Cam Ward and change your opinion on competition for him? What do you got to see over the last 7 games to feel comfortable with his progress in 2025 as a rookie?
So I'm not going to go too long, because I said we got Joshua on the line here too. But for me, it's this with Cam. It's having the ability to stay in the pocket and deliver consistently, methodically down the field, not through concepts, through seeing the routes develop, standing there, delivering the football. If you do have to create, be precise in your creations and how you're going to get guys open. Knowing when to dump the football off this past weekend, I thought they were strategically getting the ball out of his hands quick. If you see pressure, go where the ball is supposed to go. That's what I need from him. And like I said, I've been huge on this Will Levis moment versus his moment, right? Like, Will Levis has had one of the biggest moments I think a quarterback has had here in the last 10 years with how they debuted against the Atlanta Falcons. Whatever, right? I want Cam to have one of those. I say that because
For 4 quarters.
For 4 quarters.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It's the completion of it, Will, for 4 quarters. I've been seeing on Twitter whenever it's up, hey, Cam's got the clutch gene. You know what I tell people to that pass this past weekend? And it was an awesome one to check. The 37-yard completion was
39
phenomenal.
yards into the red zone to set up the game-tying touchdown.
Yep. He's throwing it up with pressure in his face, and it almost just feels like it was a heave more than an exact pass. I don't know how people view that one. I view it as a heave blanket. He's down there somewhere the same exact way Kyler Murray did the DeAndre Hopkins years back, right? Like, he's down there somewhere. It's kind of how that went. I want to see him stand and deliver in that pocket. Now, his offensive line got to help him there too, right? But I want to see a 4-quarter game of him just dicing somebody up. It'd be phenomenal if he did it against Seattle Seahawks this upcoming weekend. As good of a team that is too. I know there's a lot stacked up against Cam. Team sucks. The schedule of everybody being bad this year is not real because everybody you're playing this year is good. But I want to see 4 quarters of that. The same way I'm charging Ashton Genty. What are you, Ashton Genty? I think it's fair to say that about Cam, too.
After a game where Ashton had 6 carries for 7 yards, sure.
Yeah, it's that portion of it for me.
Sonny on Facebook Live in the Evan and Big Chat says, Scam Ward has an 11% approval rating. No, he doesn't.
That's new.
The last time I checked, he, on our poll, still had over 50% of people who approved of Cam Ward, either somewhat or strongly. To me, the processing speed and how quickly Cam was getting the ball out and making decisions on Sunday, need to see that for 7 more games. That cannot just be something that you do against a really good pass rush. Cam Ward having a 2.6 second on average time to throw. That's about a third of a second faster than his average this season. That doesn't sound like a lot. I promise you it is.
Yeah.
2.6 seconds versus 2.97 in terms of how quickly the ball was getting out of his hand. If that continues and the results aren't just throwing it to the other team, or there are still some accurate passes down the field within that, I'm starting to feel a lot better. I still think that any conversation about Cam Ward being in a QB competition in 2026 is extremely premature. Extremely premature. The kind of backup quarterback that you're going to see with Cam Ward in 2026 is yet to be determined by what he does over these final 7 games. I think Buck is overreacting. I think a lot of our callers yesterday were overreacting. It's 10 games.
Yeah.
And he finished that 10th game. Healthy wide receivers named Van Jefferson and Mason Kinsey. I'm not going to coddle Cam. We have been adamant about this, Ramon. We've got to be able to criticize Cam Ward without him being a bust or without him being the golden child that's just perfect and he can do no wrong and he's the guy. The answer is somewhere in the middle, but I'm closer to the positive end of it than the negative end of it because of what he has to work with at this point of the season and because of the lack of number 1 target that he's had, unfortunately, with Calvin Ridley's injury.
I would say this, too, to clarify my stance on the competition side of it. I'm hopeful for the positive with Cam, if that makes sense. If everything that he is as far as the maturity, as far as the talent that he has, I'm hopeful for that because selfishly, it means a better show for us. Selfishly, it means great content for us. I don't thrive in negativity. It's just where I'm at with this, right? I like to see guys go get it. My portion of the go get it is this. We also got to be very freaking transparent about what's real, too. And what's real is he's not playing that great right now. What's real is what's real is also he hasn't had a big moment that makes you say this has sticking power in the NFL. Right? That's the real part about this game. We're laughing at Abdul Carter. Some are laughing at Abdul Carter because, generational rusher. He's not doing what Michael Parsons did. Right? We're laughing at that because, again, in this league, when you remove yourself from the emotional attachment to guys, just break it down for what it is. And at some point, I want to see this season not be a wash. And he has a 4-quarter moment of saying, that's the dude. Because if you do look back at his track record, his completion percentage wasn't that high at Washington State. That team was a super team in Miami, and they underperformed there also. This team, the year removed after him, is about to go into the college football playoffs.
That offense did not underperform, though, at Miami. Like what he could control, that defense underperformed.
Well, Either way, there hasn't been big wins in his lifetime at the quarterback position.
Yeah, that is fair.
That's fair.
I mean, his completion percentage in his college career was 66%.
He's a 60. Well, Washington State, what was it? Unless my stats were wrong on that one.
66%.
It was 66 at Washington
67
State?
in 2023.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that.
Yeah. Joshua is in McMinnville. What's up, Joshua?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Listen to you pretty much every morning. Haven't called in a long time. I don't think I've called in since J-Mont was doing this show in the mornings with Ramon. But
Welcome back.
Welcome.
yeah, man. So here's I got two things. I would say my approval rating of Cam Ward is at 75%. We all have very short memories, especially when things aren't going our way and our team is losing. But Cam Ward has showed up. He has done everything that this team asked of him. He lost his coach. He tried to stand behind his coach. He's lost playmakers all around him, and he's a rookie, so he's gonna have to take his lumps, right? But he has continued to get better, in my opinion. I watch a lot of ball, and last Sunday is a good example of it. He was taking what was in front of him, but for me to really believe in Cam Ward, he's got to make the layups. He can't miss that pass to McKenzie. You know what I'm saying? He can't miss that pass to Iamaker. He's got to start believing in the guys around him a little bit more up front because he had the protection. And I think that's part of it. You've been knocked around a lot, so it's kind of hard to trust what's in front of you. But that's what I need to see. I need him to start believing in the guys around him a little bit more and stepping up and making those layup throws. And also, I want to pair it what Ramon said. I want to see 4 quarters. Don't do it for the first and second quarter. Do it the whole game. Be a difference maker. Be the guy that everyone else looks to and you make better. And my last thing I want to say is, if someone in Nashville needs to set up like a self-help group for these Will Levis fans, let that man go on somewhere. Because we're done with him.
Joshua, thank you. You are a good caller from that call, so please call back anytime. No, I agree. We've got to let the Will Levis thing go.
So we're up against it, and maybe we continue this conversation after the break, but I have a reasoning for that statement I made yesterday, or just the agreement with, yeah, I get it.
You get what?
Just the idea of whoever the next coach comes in, going into training camp, whether they bring in a vet, or whether it is Will Levis, the spirit of competition elevates people. It's Cam's job. We know that. Right? It is holistically Cam Ward's franchise at this point.
Sure.
But the pushing of him to be better and not let him rest on just as yours, and I don't think he will. Naturally, it's not in him to just rest. But the fact that you bring a guy in that pushes him, right, I think is fair.
I think it's still to be determined what kind of competition you want for Cam Ward based on the final set.
And I don't think that's a competition. That is the security of your team. Because, again, the basis of believing in Cam is making him show you, too. Right? You don't want to have yourself behind an 8 ball and let's say Cam doesn't have a great second year. Let's say if he doesn't, he has a sophomore slump again, right? You got to be able to have some security is my portion of it, too. So maybe it's not per se a competition, but it's a security blanket for the next coach that's going to come in here that whoever his backup is, Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, right? That's a perfect scenario to you. And I don't know if there's another Daniel Jones in this free agency cycle here.
I don't think
you'll bring in a threatening guy like Daniel Jones. I think the jury was already out on Anthony Richardson to begin with.
If we're having the same issues in year 3, maybe, but that's a long way off.
That's understood.
And we got that question on YouTube saying, at what point, what will it take for you to call Cam a bust? Talk to me in 2027.
Going into 27.
Yeah, talk to me in year 3 on whether or not Cam is a bust. We are not close. We are not even close to calling anyone a bust who just got drafted.
They knew halfway through Anthony Richardson's second year, though.
Yeah, unless you're like Isaiah Wilson. Or it's just that's the example. Unless you're Isaiah Wilson, you don't get to call someone a bust in year 1.
No,
It's
you can't do that.
It never happens.
Bryce Young is finally showing it in year 3.
It's just, especially a quarterback. I mean, the guy was playing the wing T like 10 minutes ago.
Now see, that's the other part. How long can we continue to use that too? He's been in
until year 3.
NFL-style offenses. No, we got to drop the wing T portion of it, though, also, in my personal opinion.
Do we?
Yes, we do. He's played in numerous pro-style offenses. Washington State was, Miami was.
Are those
now
pro-style offenses?
They are adapted to current football more than the wing T is. He knows to drop back and know how to read coverage.
Sure. I just mean, again, the guy is very raw. We knew this. We knew this. Not just because of the wing T part, but the mechanics, the footwork, how nonchalant he is in the pocket, having the same play caller for 17 straight games, or even, get this, for 2 straight off seasons, which is something he hasn't really had.
And that's why
in college.
That's why bringing the security part of it for him, whoever they choose to bring in as a vet quarterback. Yeah. You got to have that if we still believe he's raw and growing, because how long does he have to grow before you see that actual payoff for him?
Greg says, Will has his bucket filled up this morning. Same conversation as yesterday. Greg, welcome to Sports Talk Radio. We repeat stuff all the time. Y'all got quick commutes. We gotta reset stuff. People only listen to us for a couple minutes, so we do a lot of the same things over and over. We run a poll, we look at the results.
Come on, G-Rig. Come on, man. Be better than that.
Coming up, the latest on Lane Kiffin. Has he really changed since 2009? I'm getting strong 2009 Lane Kiffin vibes from what's going on at Oxford right now. We're going to talk about that coming up next.
Work. It's what we do. Part of who we are. There is joy in work. And no matter what size your business is, the dedicated commercial team at Two Rivers Ford will find the work trucks and vans that keep your business moving. And Two Rivers is the only dealer that offers a 90-day free fleet management program that can help you save money on every single mile. The Commercial Vehicle Center at Two Rivers Ford. We work for you.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee, a 104.5 The Zone. As hour 2 rolls on, Ramon Foster and Will Bowling. Scooters Coffee available all around Middle Tennessee. Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. So, Ramon, I'm starting to think Lane Kiffin is not going to be the head coach at Ole Miss next season.
What got you there, Will?
Well, it is very interesting, some of the reporting yesterday. So Ole Miss, according to On3's Chris Lowe, Brett McMurphy, and Pete Nakos, is looking for clarity at some point this week about Lane Kiffin's future with the Rebels. The sixth-year head coach has them obviously right on the doorstep of the college football playoff. And sources have told On3 that Ole Miss athletic director Keith Carter is seeking an answer from Lane Kiffin about his future ahead of Egg Bowl game week. So there is a chance, Ramon, that Lane Kiffin, the head coach of maybe the second or third best team in the SEC, one of the leading contenders for the national championship, SEC championship, might not even coach the end of this season. If he misses the deadline, sources have raised questions about the ramifications. Could he coach in the Egg Bowl or even the college football playoff? According to On3, those questions are unanswered. News broke on Monday that members of Lane Kiffin's family were in Baton Rouge. And sources tell On3 they made a trip to Gainesville on Sunday as well.
Did, yeah.
What is your reaction to all of this? Does it kind of feel like 2009 all over again with Lane Kiffin, the way this is going down right now?
It does, except for this is just out further than I think the UT situation was at the time. I felt like, because I wasn't close to it at the time, his departure from the University of Tennessee was more sudden. This one is kind of a lead up, almost like you're spinning the wheel and waiting for the wheel to stop type of situation. You don't know where Lane is going to land at. Keith Carter, you say, is the athletic director for Ole Miss. I don't think you have enough power and flex to demand this from Lane right now, though. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like it's empty. It's an empty threat. I genuinely do, because right now Lane has all the power. Ole Miss in general, they can't be messy publicly with this, and they're starting to be now. I get the urgency to get an answer from him, considering they got a deal on the table. I'm not sure how big of a deal it is or what Lane is weighing when it goes down to it, but I personally don't think Ole Miss have enough flex to demand Lane Kiffin give them an answer. The best pathway is to already be fielding calls themselves about somebody else just in case, instead of publicly saying, Lane, pick us to go to the prom with. I don't think there's enough flex there on that one.
Why not?
Because Lane can just stay. He's honestly, at this point, I feel like he's got bigger options than what Ole Miss are. Looking at LSU, looking at Florida, and it's better for them to appease him and not take him off. Lane has never in his life, in my personal opinion, not had options. So when you're dealing with a guy like this, the last thing you want to do is just piss them off, in my personal opinion. So to say that Ole Miss is going to be better without Lane and say, Lane, you're out because you don't give us an answer, I don't think publicly is the best way for them to do business with a guy like him who's always had 5 options at his feet in any opportunity he's been given.
I don't know, though, because what are you supposed to do if you're Ole Miss? Just wait and let it distract the team that has a chance to win the national championship?
Address this. I don't think publicly it creates, to me, more conversation in the locker room. I didn't know that they, as far as the deal goes, I've heard it being a deal. I think the AD releasing this through Chris Lowe, Brett McMurphy, and Pete Nakos creates more chaos inside of the locker room, more than them waiting. I think Lane could have privately addressed his team and say, guys, this is the situation. Now they're putting the pressure on Lane, and players are going to start look sideways about this one, because either you're coaching us in the Egg Bowl or not, coach. There is a conversation that's going to be had that's unnecessary at this point to me. I've had a situation where coach was allegedly leaving, and we heard the rumors because it went public quickly, and that created more chaos in that room than the guy actually announcing it himself.
But who created that chaos originally?
Keith Carter did.
I think Kiffin did by having his family go visit Gainesville on Sunday after beating them on Saturday. Isn't that kind of Ole Miss responding to what Lane and his family just did?
What is he supposed to do right now? Not at least
not
explore?
Do it during the season, yeah.
He
Wait
didn't
until
go.
after.
It was family that went.
Well, I mean, family represents him.
He's still on the job doing what they're asking him to do.
I think that everything that he has said has been about, it would be disrespectful to even talk about this and go through this based on what our team just did. Okay, well then wait until after the season to do this. Otherwise, we're going to have different conversations. Like, that in and of itself was going to come out and be a distraction. I don't blame Ole Miss at all for what they've done here, because I think they've taken a calculated risk to say ripping the bandage off one way or another is of the better interest to Ole Miss football in the short term than this purgatory that we're in with Lane Kiffin. Like, because this football team has a chance to be one of the best in Ole Miss history.
But don't you leave him on the job and let him complete the task?
Not with him going to visit other places while he is doing the job.
So if they qualify for the CFP, he's not coaching it in your opinion. You don't want him to
I think
coach
Lane
them.
Kiffin may have already coached his last game at Ole Miss.
This week.
Yeah. Like, no, not even this. Like, I think this past game against Florida might have been the last time Lane Kiffin coached a football game for the University of Mississippi. You can't, if your family is out there visiting other places and he has had a contract offer on the table now for weeks.
And I'm
from Ole Miss and Keith Carter that he hasn't signed. And with his comments that he made after the game, we talked about it yesterday.
Yeah.
That was significant to me, him calling out the fan base, being like, well, yeah, today the atmosphere was good. Meanwhile, he's really talking about, he's saying the quiet part out loud, saying, well, yeah, today it was good. All right, well, then, Lane, when was it not good?
Against Kentucky.
Against Kentucky, against Washington State early in the season. Like, against bad teams, it's more about the party outside the stadium than it is the football game inside the stadium in Oxford. And that's just a fact. That's just the way it is. They got a great atmosphere down there for tailgating. Not enough. The proper level of that atmosphere does not make it inside the stadium for them to really be a legitimate, like, home atmosphere at Ole Miss. That's just who they are.
There is a saying that you don't stay for too long. It's been 5 years for Lane. This is the best that Ole Miss, six. Yeah. This is the best that Lane has done on the job in Oxford. Has he hit his ceiling for what he thinks they're capable of? Does the money keep him all the options that he has to ask himself? And again, my biggest thing about Keith Carter, Ole Miss's AD doing this publicly, though, is you at least got to go get the bid, let him coach, let his players play under his regime. In my personal opinion, if Ole Miss moves on from Lane, the structure that he has of come to the SIP, the NIL, the high school recruiting, I think Ole Miss replaces or goes to where Mississippi State is almost because Lane's so big. And that's what I mean by putting it out publicly. Putting it out publicly, to me, I think bruises the brand that Lane has built there. And maybe Lane's too big for Ole Miss.
Are you saying that Lane Kiffin becomes like what Mississippi State is, like lower, or Ole Miss as a program?
Ole Miss as a program does.
Oh, I don't think so. I think they've got.
You think it's sustainable?
Yeah, I do. I think them as an athletic department and as a university have gotten NIL right, and I think all of a sudden you become on the Auburn level of job to be able to compete for that level of candidates.
I feel like in today's world, we've seen this story play time and time again. I'm looking more at the coaches. Yes.
Who?
Because we're looking at Florida. Florida's got their NIL together. LSU's got their NIL together.
Florida has not had NIL together.
LSU does. Right?
LSU's a different circumstance.
LSU's got theirs together.
Florida has not been at the same level
but Florida's
of Ole
got
Miss
the athletes,
name,
though,
image, and
too.
likeness.
They're not
different.
short on athletes is what I'm getting at. My point of it is the same as we had yesterday about like Tennessee and Tony Vitello. Like the way I look at this situation is guys go to Ole Miss because of Lane Kiffin. The same way fans go into the stadium to see Tony Vitello. The draw is Lane to me in this conversation.
Well, you think Tennessee baseball is going to drop off then?
I don't know.
Tony?
I don't. The questions has to be answered. Elander has to go win the same way and have the same standard as Tony Vitello does. It's hard following guys like that is the point. The same way we spoke about Gerard following the Bill Belichick. It's hard following these types of guys is the point that I'm making about Ole Miss shaking the hornet's nest on this one.
It depends on who they get.
As an organization, they are supposed to.
I can't make any sort of confident claim on what they're going to be after Lane because I don't know who's following Lane. I don't even know if Lane's leaving.
Lane made Ole Miss cool. Besides Coach Cutcliffe, he made it cool to win.
I think they can build on that with the buy-in that they have. I think they are a lot more aligned at Ole Miss than what you're giving them credit for.
Man, I'm telling you, I personally think because they've lived this life before, Lane to me is the draw, which is why he's so sought after right now. He's in a love triangle between 3 schools, and it's because of him. I love what Mississippi is and the players that they have and the legends they brought out in the NFL. But when you look at the current state of Ole Miss, it's because of Lane Kiffin. And him beating the Hornets' nest in my opinion, I don't think it helped the cause at all. And maybe he wants Lane now.
I think the athletic department and Keith Carter just have earned more credit for why it's worked. I don't think it's all Lane.
I personally don't on this one.
I don't think you can win and it just be all you anymore in college athletics. I think you have to have so many other factors in order to be successful beyond just drawing up plays the way he has and being a draw the way he has. He is the 11th highest paid coach in the sport. He is absolutely going to be at least top 5, probably top 3 when it's all said and done. He earns $9 million this season, not including bonuses. It's going to be really interesting to see what he looks like at other places because I kind of view Lane Kiffin. It's not a one-to-one comparison, but it's almost like how we talked about Dan Moore, the Titans left tackle, when he was signed this offseason. The market dictates what you are worth. It is a hot market for head coaches in college football and in the SEC right now. There is a high demand for proven SEC winning, and there are not a lot of coaches out there who have been proven winners at the Power 4 level. A lot of those coaches are coaching at their alma maters. Clark Lee, Brent Key, Kenny Dillingham, Jeff Brom. Those are kind of the big 4 of guys who have not appeared to be susceptible to a conversation or to leaving. Clark still doesn't have a new contract here, which I think is interesting to me.
That in itself, right?
I do think that Lane is a product of this coaching market, Ramon, and there not being another, at least I'll say, logical heir for big programs. Like Lane's kind of it. If you want a proven winner at the Power 4 level who is at a national title contender today that you feel like you can throw a bag at to step up. Like Dan Lanning's not moving. No. Kurt Signetti wasn't moving. Who else? I mean, you've got plenty of coaches who have already gotten extensions.
Levy's got one on the table, I think, right now.
He's a little different.
Not Levy. A&M's coach.
Mike Elko. Yeah, Mike Elko's another one.
Elko.
Like, Lane, to me, is going to get overpaid a little bit, which you're going to have to do because of how light this market is of proven coaches. Why don't you think so?
Get overpaid because I think he's coaching himself into bigger situations. What I mean by this is,
with that.
I think there's, let me be thorough and you throw another one there if you think so. I think there's one organization that the money is showing that is making the coach better. And I think that's Ohio State.
Okay.
Kirby has a standard. I think right now Kalen DeBoer's figured that out as far as coaching goes.
Well,
Sarkisian, I don't think the money hasn't made him a better coach. I think Lane makes programs better. I think when you look at what LSU attempted to do with Brian Kelly and say that he's a damn good coach and we're going to put money back, I don't think he was a good coach.
So you think he's overperforming with his roster?
Lane?
Yeah.
Yes. And has been, in my personal opinion. You look at what money did for Penn State and the retention of a first-round quarterback, right? That's not a good coach. I think when you look at James Franklin, he's going to go to Virginia Tech and be a god. Because at that level, he's a damn good coach. But to be an elite coach, to spend money, there's only, in my opinion, one program that's almost bulletproof to it, and that's Ohio State. Because you got to think, Ryan Day was almost out of there and still hasn't beat Michigan in the last 4 years because Michigan out-coaches him. The money doesn't translate for him in those situations. But because they're so stacked, 5-star to 5-star elite program, this is what happened. They got a big old alumni.
It is interesting with Lane for how much it feels like he's changed. This just feels so much like 2009 again.
It does. It's going to set him back.
He's out here taking off his belt and giving them to Kawan Lacey to say BTA.
Yeah.
And like he's whipping Florida. And then his family the next day goes and visits Gainesville. That's classic Lane Kiffin. At the end of the day, I think Lane Kiffin is still the same personality and the same guy, even if a lot of his off-field habits are a lot healthier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the best place of his career and life, and he's had more success at Ole Miss than any other place that he had been. But, man, it just still feels like the same Lane Kiffin at the end of the day.
Do you not take it, though?
Whose perspective am I thinking
from Lane's? Because you almost have to leave.
I don't think you do. I think Ole Miss has given you everything. I think Ole Miss. I did not think he was leaving until Sunday.
Well, I will ask you this: can Lane get bigger as a person, as a coach, as a legend? That's the question you almost got to ask at this point.
At Ole Miss, I think he's the kind of coach they'd build a statue for in 25 years. At LSU or Florida, you're taking a risk that the lack of alignment at LSU, the lack of infrastructure to build rosters at Florida, coupled with the higher expectations, means that the level that you have reached at Ole Miss is not going to be good enough there. So I don't know if he's going to be able to take another step with the additional resources he's going to get, because I don't know if Florida and LSU can give him anything that Ole Miss can't right now, to be honest with you. Like, he's got it pretty good right now where he is. But again, if you turn it down this time, again, to go back to comparing it to Tony Vitello, when's the next time that these two jobs are going to come open? So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you're Lane.
Can Ole Miss be mad that he leaves?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, you can always be mad when a coach leaves. Oh, especially the way he's handled all this on social media and some of the press conference stuff, and just the fact that the offer still is on the table and he's not made a decision. Like, they're going to be mad. I think the way he's handled this, there's no perfect way to handle it, but there's going to be a lot of people that instantly lose the loyalty and the credibility that they had in Lane Kiffin.
I got a number for him.
What?
1-800-CALL-EVOLVE.
Yeah, that's right. And we've been there. Maybe the security cameras will go down in Oxford when he leaves, the same way they did in Knoxville in the middle of the night in 2009. Coming up, another hire yesterday. Interesting fit. Our reaction to James Franklin headed to Virginia Tech coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Jewel Roofing and Exteriors. Man, they're probably based right here in Middle Tennessee. They've been serving communities everywhere from Clarksville to Murfreesboro. Yes, that's north down to south, south down to north. Either way you want to call it, okay? They got you covered, man. They've been here for over 25 years. Our family owned too, man, and we love shopping local, man, and they just do really good work. They don't knock on doors or chase storms either, man. You know, anytime there's a big storm in our areas, you'll see all of these posters in your neighborhood. If you need a new roof, that's not what they do. Instead, they build relationships. They educate you, the homeowner, and earn referrals through trust. Jewel Roofing and Exteriors is your long-term partner in protecting your home from the top down, man. And they can do quick fixes. They can also do big projects. It's what they specialize in. But here's the best part about it. They will let you know this. Either you need them now or you'll need them 10 years from now. They just want to educate you and know that you have somebody in your back pocket that you can trust, and that's Jewel Roofing, man. You can go to their website at jewelroofing.com, or you can call them at 615-868-9999. Again, it's Jewel Roofing with 2 L's.com.
What if you could pull up to $500,000 in cash out of your home and drop your mortgage rate to 4.99% APR? Hey, it's Will Bowling. Right now at Loan Pronto, they've got the lowest rates in 3 years. With Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan, you can get your cash in as little as 3 days. Pay off all those high-interest credit cards and even skip your next 2 house payments. One client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours, paid off their debt, paid off 2 car loans, and saved $2,100 a month. One call, life changed. There's no wait. No hard credit pull up front. You probably won't need an appraisal. Just fast, easy cash from your home's equity. Rates are at a 3-year low, so act now. Call 615-499-5780 or visit loanpronto.com for your free instant home appraisal. See how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto, A+ rated with the BBB and nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call 615-499-5780 and see how much cash you can get today. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Wrapping up the first half of this morning's Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooter's Coffee. Wherever you download podcasts, you get the show. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 1045thezone.com. Really bad day for Twitter to be down. I mean, for all we know, Lane Kiffin could be the head coach of the Florida Gators already. We'd have no way of knowing. Send a carrier pigeon from Gainesville.
Please.
If anything happens down there. Or Baton Rouge. We do know, though, that yesterday, while X.com was still available for us to peruse, that James Franklin is the new head coach of the Virginia Tech Hokies. 12 seasons at Penn State. He went 104-45. Oh, James Franklin, former listener of the Zone, 104-45. To the playoff semifinals. He would call into the station from time to time. There are some stories about that. Won a Big Ten title in 2016, of course, was fired in October amid his 12th season and a 3-3 start to 2025. A memorandum of understanding was in place since at least Saturday, according to On3. And now Franklin gave them the go-ahead. He, like Lane Kiffin, was kind of given an ultimatum. Like, hey, buddy, you're going to take the job? You're going to keep waiting for something bigger to open up? Fayetteville, Arkansas is distraught over this. Virginia Tech has reportedly committed to funding a roster at the top of the ACC. Well, that's not going to take much for James Franklin. 128-60. Franklin has been a sought-after candidate from the beginning. Wanted a job before the season was up, Virginia Tech, and now they got their guy. How do you think that's going to go, Ramon?
I think for him, with what he's going into, amazing. I'll just be completely honest. Just looking at the conference, his ability to recruit, Miami's buying a roster as good as anybody right now. What did Virginia Tech say as soon as they fired their coach? We got $50 million over here. Like, he's going to get the support there. They've had, last I read, 5 losing seasons in the last 6. He's going to go in and recruit heavy. It could be problematic for us in the SEC because he's going to hit the Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina area also. And I don't think they've had a double-digit winning season since 2016. James Franklin will be fine at Virginia Tech, in my personal opinion. He's going to go back to the history. He's going to do all the things necessary to be loud, obnoxious, and put them as a brand again. This is perfect for him.
I'm really interested to see what he learns from the Penn State season this year that, I don't know, just allows him to adjust. Yeah. And he was given everything at Penn State this season. I still think they fired him way too soon. But I also understand where the Penn State fan base is coming from when it says, what else did you need? You had Andy Kotelnicki and Jim Knowles. You had 2 future NFL running backs coming back. You had a line on both sides that returned a lot of talent. You had Drew Aller. You had new wide receiver talent that we got for you in the transfer portal. What else do you need in order to be a national title contender? So I do think he has gone to the perfect place where, again, it's about expectations. What are we asking James Franklin to do?
Yeah.
If we're asking him to win a national championship, I think you're going to be disappointed. If you're asking him to win 9 games, I think that you know what you're getting. And at Virginia Tech, that's all you need. I do think the underrated part of this is it's the same recruiting ground that he's had at Penn State at Virginia Tech. Those 2 programs are recruiting the same region of America. It's the DMV, it's Jersey, it's Virginia, it's the Carolinas. It's like the Atlantic coast.
It is, literally.
The Atlantic Coast Conference, which is not really much of the Atlantic coast. It's just kind of the All Coasts Conference. But the expectations, I think, are manageable for James Franklin. I think it's a great fit. I think it was the fit we talked about the day he got fired. It's Virginia Tech would make a ton of sense. I thought North Carolina always made a ton of sense. If they were to move on from Belichick, I think he'd be much better at UNC than Belichick. But UNC's athletic director is not really running the football program. So, that's kind of the first step. And Virginia Tech, I think, is a better fit. So, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Less stress for him. He'll be able to dabble in Ohio and Pennsylvania recruiting, too, because of his Penn State ties there, too. The relationships he's already built. What I'm upset with him is this, though. Dog, you got 54 million reasons not to be coaching again. What is wrong with you?
I know. That's my only surprise is that he's immediately jumping back in. But coaches, there's so many decent jobs open that, sure.
The quality is
Why
there.
Not? I agree.
I think he negotiated. He's supposed to get a $9 million buyout from Penn State because of this hire or something like that too. They negotiated $9 million from Penn State, which is No, give me the whole thing.
Question on YouTube says, why do college coaches get more than 3 head coach jobs, but NFL coaches can't? Well, first of all, he's only got fired from one of them. NFL coaches often, it's like, if you get fired from 2, you're not getting a third. Also, there's not 32 teams.
Yeah.
there's 130 teams. Of course you're going to get more opportunities.
And the exception, too, of how you lost and got fired always plays a part.
I mean, there's...
And then you're also dealing with the best of the best athletes. Like college coaches at least got to develop 18, sometimes 17-year-olds to 22-year-olds.
There's quadruple the opportunities. Of course you're going to get more chances.
Shout out to Nate Washington, but you become like a father to those guys too. There's a nurturing aspect to it in the college level. Football does that in college more than it does in the NFL.
Well, and two, to that point, college football programs don't all have the same expectations.
That's true.
All 32 NFL teams want to win a Super Bowl. There's not like a certain level of like, oh, well, we only have these resources. Well, the NFL, everyone gets the same salary cap to choose from. In college football, Virginia Tech's salary cap traditionally has not been the same salary cap that Penn State was operating with.
Exactly.
Or that Ole Miss is operating with. Or like every program has a different dollar amount that they are working.
If James Franklin brought up national championship in his interview with Virginia Tech, he's a liar.
Well, he'll say it in the press conference. We're just going to go win a national title somewhere else. Yeah, okay, buddy.
What the kids say, cap.
If you can't win a national title at Penn State, why are you going to be able to win a national title at Virginia Tech?
And that's all right if he.
And that's okay.
Wins.
He's a 9 or 10 win coach. At Virginia Tech, that's fine. In today's playoff era, that can sometimes, you get the right path and the ball bounces your way, you might get in the final 8 or the final 4 with just being a 9 or 10 win coach. That's fine.
What are we talking about here?
Coming up, the Titans' next best option to Cam Ward this past offseason, not looking too hot. Updating you on an interesting headline out of the NFC yesterday, coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Low T. Guys, you'll wish you had started TRT sooner, man. Don't you want to feel or know what your levels are, man? Find out with a free TRT test at Synergex and Low T Center. You can walk in before 10 a.m. or book ahead at fixmylowt.com, man. And here's a testimony from one guy, man. He was like, I was like you before I went to find out my T levels at Synergex and Low T Center. I didn't even know testosterone was a thing until I told my buddy how tired I had been since he turned 40. He said he told him, he and most guys he know go to Synergex and Low T Center. He finally went, and when he took the TRT test, he was shocked to find out how low his levels were, man. Now that he's on a testosterone replacement therapy at Synergex and Low T Center, they feel better. We mention this all the time. Sometimes we worry about how much we lift and how much we run and how many abs we got or how good we think we look, but we never worry about the inside and why you feel the way you feel. Guys, I'm telling you, it's the best thing that you can do for yourselves, your mentals, and just life. Again, visit the website at fixmylowt.com and make sure you tell them that Ramon sent you.
Isn't it crazy how in Middle Tennessee, everyone wants to move here, yet when I'm driving around the neighborhood or going for a walk, I so often see the same for sale sign just sitting there gathering dust. Hey, it's Will Bowling for my good friend Bernie Gallerani of Bernie Gallerani Real Estate. With him, it's not going to happen to you. If you've been on the fence, if you've been thinking about selling your home or trying to sell your home to try to upgrade, to try to move up to that new neighborhood, you've been driving through and looking around saying, man, wouldn't it be nice? Well, if you feel like you're ready, then take the leap with Bernie Gallerani Real Estate, who guarantees to sell your home in 30 days or less. There is no risk to you. You're not going to have that for sale sign gathering dust out front. Bernie will let you out of the contract at any time. He is the real estate agent who has the 30-day guarantee. He's going to take care of you. My good friend Bernie Gallerani has a passion for helping Middle Tennesseans, so much so that he's given you his personal cell phone to make things happen. 615-428-2644. You're going to have one phone call with Bernie, and you're going to be convinced that he can help you. 615-428-2644. See how Bernie Gallerani can help you selling your home, moving into that neighborhood you've been looking at. You can head online as well to BernieGallerani.com. That's 615-428-2644, online at BernieGallerani.com.
8:03, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Week 11 of the NFL season wrapped up last night with Monday Night Football as the Dallas Cowboys improved to 4-5-1 on the season after they beat the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16. Dak Prescott threw for 4 touchdown passes. Wide receiver George Pickens caught one of them, and he led the way with 9 receptions for 144 yards. Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, in his debut since being traded from the New York Jets back at the trade deadline, recorded 1.5 sacks. In other NFL news, yesterday, Falcons quarterback Michael Penix Jr. was placed on injured reserve after he suffered a knee injury this past Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. He will miss at least the next 4 games. Penix's season is expected to be over, but he will go through more tests to determine the severity of the injury and get more clarity. Kirk Cousins will take over as the starter in Atlanta. College hoops yesterday, number 20 Tennessee Vols are 4-0 after they beat Rice 91-66. Felix Okpara had a game-high 20 points, and freshman standout Nate Ament with a 19-point and 10-rebound double-double. In college football news yesterday, Virginia Tech announced that they are hiring James Franklin as their next head football coach a month after Franklin was fired from Penn State. The Hokies are the first Power 4 football program to fill a coaching vacancy this season. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, hour number 3, getting started. Your Tuesday morning, fueled by Scooters Coffee. Every morning, fueled by Scooters Coffee. We love our friends at Scooters who take care of us. They'll take care of you as well. If you scoot on down through their locations in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet, they are locally owned with amazing people, amazing drinks, and it will be amazingly fast. There's a big outage going on the internet right now. Cloudflare is down. Apparently, they had a spike in unusual traffic around 6:20 Eastern this morning. So if you can't get on Twitter, I can't get on On3.
No, at all.
They're down. Spotify is down at the moment. Many of you may have come to us because your Spotify wasn't working. We hope that we could at least keep you around. You can hang around for a little bit. And join us on the phone, 615-737-1045.
Yeah, y'all here anyway.
Y'all are going to have to wait on these podcasts because they are not working.
Not working?
I can't do anything. Yeah, so we may not have podcasts today.
Fix it.
Don't blame me.
Fix it, Hawk. Where's Fix It Bird at, man? Come on. Fix it, Bird.
That's what Slay says.
He ain't doing his job.
When anything doesn't work in the F and Bank chat, just says FIB, Fix It Bird.
Man, by the way, I went to the dentist yesterday. They're so encouraging.
Oh.
They said my teeth were awesome. They were clean. Wasn't much to clean at all. It was. And I was just like, do y'all tell everybody this so that we come back all the time? But I must say, they are good. There, I had to do an x-ray scan around my head. Had to get into my left guard spot real quick in my left guard stance. Because
you're back in the left guard.
Yeah, I was. Because the machine wasn't tall enough. You know, I don't make those type of machines for people over 6'6". So. Fair. It is what it is. But great dentist appointment. I used to be scared of them. Not
proud
anymore.
Of you.
Thank you. Thank you, Will.
Really proud of you.
Overcoming a lot of adversity there.
Man, listen, my algorithm must have knew, too, that I had a dentist appointment because random dentist videos popped up on my algorithm, and people got bad teeth out here.
They can hear you. They're always listening.
Big brother, right?
Unless they're Twitter this morning. Abdul Carter was, according to a report, asleep during a Giants walkthrough. Like sleeping while he's walking? What? How does this happen? So Abdul Carter, former Penn State edge rusher and Titans draft target, first-round pick of the New York Giants, was benched for the Giants opening series Sunday because he was asleep at the team facility and missed a recent walkthrough. A source told ESPN he did not play during the opening series in the loss the Giants had to the Green Bay Packers. He took accountability for it after the game. On Monday, responding to a social media post sharing the Athletics report on the walkthrough, saying, was not sleep, actually doing recovery. Nonetheless, that's on me. And then later posted on Twitter, when the hate don't work, they start telling lies. Something happened for Abdul Carter to not be on the field in the opening series. Ramon, how concerned should Giants fans be about him to start his rookie season? Because Abdul Carter has a half a sack in his first 11 career games.
Jeez, James Pierce Jr. got, 2.5 already?
He had one this week.
He had one this week. I don't know what he have in totality. How concerned? It's the same scenario you're dealing with Cam at this point. It's instability with the franchise and the head coach. The head coach is already fired right now, but the production of him on a day-to-day basis, I think it's easier for defensive players, especially edge rushers, to be productive. And right now, he's not showing any of that. You can tell me, that he's getting to the quarterback and his rush win rate is good and stuff like that, but they're below 500. He's ineffective, right? You know what I'm saying? He's ineffective in what he has going on right now. And for that position specifically, either you need to be coached up, which his coaches are about to all be gone, or your skill set needs to heighten up some too. I feel like there's more control on that side of the ball to dictate your success, the same way Sauce Gardner was, right? If we're going to look at guys of that ilk.
It's a more individual position.
It is. You don't have to rely on the offensive line.
I would be more concerned about Abdul Carter than Cam Ward in terms of how quickly these guys were supposed to hit the ground running and be immediate impact players. Abdul Carter, to your point, does play a position that is less dependent on other people.
Yep.
Cam Ward needs a line to block, receivers to get open, receivers to catch the ball when they get open. The timing of all of these things, there are more variables that have to be controlled in order for Cam Ward to be successful. There are less other things outside of Abdul Carter's control that he needs in order to be successful. Are you winning at the line of scrimmage? He's not enough. And Abdul Carter was seen as a plug-and-play dog and potential superstar, a Micah Parsons kind of impact player to say, like, oh, well, maybe there's, middle of the first round, there's questions about guys, but Abdul Carter, we know what he is.
Sure did.
We never totally know, and this is why. Half a sack in 11 career games, I would have never expected that, based off of what he was coming into the season and out of Penn State. My concern level would be probably about a 7 out of 10 if I was a New York Giants fan watching Abdul Carter. Now, again, it is way too early to call anyone a bust unless you were like Isaiah Wilson as a rookie. So it's not bust time yet, but the concern level is definitely higher on Abdul Carter than Cam Ward in terms of pre-draft expectations and what those guys look like.
And my experience is also with guys showing up late to those walkthroughs is probably because you've been out partying all night too. If he was in recovery, which recovery is it? Is it the float tanks? Is it getting an IV? Is it cryotherapy chamber that you were in? Is it because of an injury? I don't know what recovery is. And either way, if there were trainers with you, they wouldn't have sat you down, because I look at these situations and say, all right, he was either in the steam room, getting liquor out, or doing something. Like, there would have been somebody, in my opinion, that would have reported to the coach and say, hey, coach, Abdul's in the trainer room doing some recovery work. He'll be out in a second. You don't miss the entire thing. So he said whatever it was, when the hate don't work, the lies open up, whatever his situation was. As a rookie, I'm sorry. There's zero excuses for you.
Yeah,
there are none.
Yeah, especially not as a rookie.
No. You don't get that grace.
You have to have secured a, 8-figure contract in order to be able to be sleeping like that and get away with it.
And again, I don't know what his recovery was, and I'm not saying he was out drinking and stuff, but like,
he did something to get suspended for the opening drive for taking off the field.
The recovery wasn't good enough for the interim head coach, Kafka.
Let's go to Bailey in Columbia talking Cam Ward this morning. 615-737-1045. What's up, Bailey?
Yeah, I heard you guys talking about, a lot of fans are saying Cam Ward's already a bust, this and that. And, man, there's no way. If you look at the last few games, he's grown every single game. He makes some really good decisions, but, he's got the worst supporting cast in the NFL, and a lot of it starts with that front office. There's absolutely zero stability. They're building a brand-new stadium, too, and if you look into it, the Bills are building a new stadium right now, and I think that's got what I'm about to get into, I think that's got something to do with it. They're funding most of it, the Bills are. Nashville is funding majority of the Titans' new stadium, and I do believe Amy Adams is staying in the helm long enough to where when she finally does decide to sell, she's going to get a bigger payday out of that stadium that Nashville halfway funded. And I don't know, man. Everybody hating on Cam Ward. He's out there doing the best with what he's got, and it's just a terrible cast, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You do got some good rookies coming along. Gunnar Helm's great. Io Manner's great. DK's great. But, you know, you got to do something. You got to give him help if you want him to be something. You can't just give up on the kid, 10, 11 games in on a rookie season.
Thank you, Bailey. Appreciate the call.
Most definitely.
The thing about Amy building a stadium just to sell, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, unless you're a member of the family, I don't know if you can totally get inside their head. To me, building a new stadium says that you want long-term investment. You want to be around for a while to see it through. You want that to be your legacy in, the city that you own an NFL team at. I don't know if that says anything about her wanting out. I think it actually is more her doubling down and wanting to be more involved and have a bigger impact. But I also don't think that's really impacted their free agency strategy. Like, they were building a new stadium when they went out and spent money on L'Jarius Sneed and Calvin Ridley and Dan Moore. And, they've spent money. They just this past offseason had a bit of a philosophical shift to say, we are going to emphasize draft picks and patience and not giving out so many of these big contracts and just spending money just to spend money.
I'm not going to say I can't believe that she's people have turned 180 on her, Amy Adams-Strunk, but it's shocking how bad it is now. She went from being the most beloved owner, I feel like, in the state of Tennessee with sports and across the NFL. Her power, her leadership, her everything. And now she's looked at as a gnome. I don't know if we've seen a switch this prevalent right now in sports where people want to just out.
I think opinion has changed as the team has sunk to the bottom of the NFL over the last 3 years. It has changed quickly. You're right. That narrative over the last 3 years.
So were the Fords, though, in Detroit. So were the Bills. I mean, there's the Browns. I mean, well, they still are, I guess. And I'm not saying that to crap on them, but I'm saying that to say, you do have to put a product out there. I just never saw you need to sell the team as much as I'm hearing down here.
Winning cures all. No doubt.
Winning cures all.
But again, a lot of the supporting cast stuff the caller brings up and Bailey brings up about Cam, unfortunately, a lot of that has been outside the Titans' control this year based on the injuries. The supporting cast you had at the end of the Texans game on Sunday is due in large part because your three best receivers all got hurt in the same game. Calvin Ridley got knocked out for the season. Chimere DK got knocked out for the game, and Io Manner was in and out with a hamstring problem. That's not an off-season acquisition issue. That's unfortunately just rotten luck.
It is.
Coming up, VolQuest's Austin Price will join us. The latest from Knoxville out of Tennessee's homecoming win into Florida week, a week that scares the minds and hearts of many around this state wearing Pantone 151C. Austin Price joins us to break it all down. Coming up next. Broken glass means one thing on Ramon and Will. It is time to talk Vols with our good friend Austin Price of VolQuest at On 3. Florida week in November. Doesn't really feel right, but it is the reality of the world we live in 2025. With Ramon Foster, I'm Will Bowling, joined by Austin Price. Gators week, and it's cold outside, Austin. It's odd, but still an exciting one this upcoming weekend. How are you?
Listen, if Tennessee wins this weekend, guys, they may petition to move this game permanently to November and if they end this streak. And it doesn't really matter how bad Florida is or anything else that's going on. Winning in the swamp is still winning in the swamp.
Yes, it is.
That's absolutely right. Austin, what stood out to you coming out of the homecoming win? I know it's sometimes hard to have any groundbreaking takeaways from a score that got so separated, but what was your overall headline of this game this past Saturday and biggest thing you feel like you learned about this team?
For me, I don't know if you learned anything in particular about the team. I do worry about Joey's 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to throw a couple of bad balls when you're getting pressured against Oklahoma. Throwing a couple of, they just weren't good throws, against New Mexico State. That was, to me, that was a bit concerning. And, it feels like he spent the first part of the year being so good about taking care of the ball and not putting the ball in harm's way. And then once he had a couple that were in harm's way, it's like turning on the spigot. All of a sudden the washer breaks and you can't turn off the water. They've got to figure out how to turn that off this week. He can't be putting the ball in harm's way because that's how you lose a game, that you're supposed to win on the road.
Well, in Austin, too, it feels like the offense is regressing a little bit to their preseason expectation. The defense is progressing a little bit and starts to look a little bit more of what we hoped they looked like. What do you think has changed for this defense, Austin, who now has only had 5 missed tackles in back-to-back games? Ty Redmond has started to come on a little bit. You've got some young linebackers flying around. Austin, to me, it doesn't seem like some of these young guys are hitting a freshman wall. It seems like they're getting a little bit better. What's kind of stood out to you on that side of the ball?
I think you're right. I think the continued climb for Ty Redmond has been really, really positive. And he took probably an unwarranted tough time against Georgia. I mean, listen, he was a freshman put in a tough spot, and Gunnar Stockton made throw after throw. I mean, the throw to win not to win the game, but to force overtime, that was unreal, right? I mean, that was dropping the bucket good. And so, Ty Redmond has continued to play really solid football. He's getting more confident because I thought there for a stretch after that Georgia game, he lost his confidence. And he's gotten more confident. His play reflects that. And this team has tackled much better. And what is the reason for that? I mean, you can say they practiced it more, but I don't think that Tennessee goes into practice and says, hey, we're not going to practice tackling. I think maybe there's just a little bit more dialed in about being a little more fundamentally sound. Either way, Tennessee's defense needs to continue to play well, and the offense can have that uptick the other direction by cutting down the turnovers like we talked about. This team might play their first game of actual complimentary football for the year, and that would be bad news for Florida because Tennessee at this point has not had a game where the offense clicked and the defense clicked at the same time.
Austin Price with us, VolQuest on 3. Austin, the other side of it is, man, getting after the quarterback. They've gotten there somewhat, but not like they did the first 4 games of the season. What's kind of led to that? Because the secondary, I felt like it has been a little bit better when it comes to tackling guys and getting to them. Our team's just getting the football out quicker. What's been that issue as far as getting a bigger number of sacks from week to week?
That's a great question, and I wish I knew the answer to it, but I don't. And it's not a 1 or 2 week thing. I mean, this is several weeks where Tennessee's not been able to get close to the quarterback. This isn't just a 1 to 2 game thing. I think this is like a 4 to 5 game thing. They were so special the first 5 games of the year, and then the last 5 have been not as good. And DJ Lagway is a load to bring down anyway, so you better figure it out. They are a defense that is getting healthier. Obviously, Arion Carter is 2 weeks further down the line, especially since they didn't play him last weekend, and he's closer to being healthy. Josh Joseph should be good to go in this game. And then the ever-popular Jermod McCoy question, it is now or never for number 3. And so he's going to be out there on the practice field this week, today, as Tennessee hits their practice field this morning for the first time during Florida week. Remember, Mondays is like a walkthrough day or whatever. So today's a big practice. I think the biggest thing coming out of it is, does he have any complications with the knee after practice in terms of like swelling, that type of thing? If that happens, then I'd say you won't see Jermon McCoy play. If he doesn't and everything looks good, then I think there's a chance you see number 3 this week on the road in Gainesville.
I just want to let that breathe a little bit right there, Austin.
Good news.
That is good news.
It's maybe good news. Again, a lot can happen between now and Saturday night.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. And those, I haven't had any issues like that. I ain't have an ACL issue, but you really do go with how they allow you to go too. All right. With that being said, though, too, as far as just going, when is Coach Hyper going to commit to one running back or maybe just 2 every 4th series? Deshaun Bishop's got to be punching the wall when he leaves the stadiums on Saturday nights, Austin. Has that conversation been brought up to Hype about committing to one?
I don't know that question. I mean, that's an internal staff question that they've talked about that or not. Obviously, he's carrying it more now or getting more opportunities now than he was early in the year.
Yeah.
It's still not maybe where you want it to be or where Brent Hubbs wants it to be, because we know Brent Hubbs is beating that drum as loud as anybody. But it is still better than it was earlier in the year when it was 1-1-1 reset. Like they're not doing that anymore. So, I guess time will tell. But I mean, obviously he is seeing things as far as patience and everything a little better than the others.
Austin, I'm very excited today to have a milestone in our interviews with you in our show on November the 18th at 8:32 a.m. Central. The last time I'm ever going to ask you about Boo Carter, Austin. How did we get here last week? I know we know well documented the saga that unfolded over the offseason where Boo Carter wasn't with the team, was brought back, earned his way back on the field. At the end of all of this, as he leaves the team and he says it's injury, you get reports and credible ones from you all saying that he's dismissed. What happened last week to bring all this to a head?
I think both parties just needed to go their separate ways. Yeah. And Boo knew he wasn't going to play defense again. I think that ultimately bothered Boo and the camp of Boo, and because if he's not playing, then there's got to be a reason he's not playing, right? Because he's going to command high dollar in NIL. Well, Boo's got, Boo does have a hip thing. There's nothing. I mean, a lot of guys have stuff though. I mean, a lot of players have ankles and knees and everything else.
Toes.
That's right. Arion Carter is out there. He played against Oklahoma without even shooting up double turf toe.
Wow.
Sam Pendleton refused to let the staff take his shoe off at Mississippi State because he knew if they took it off, they would see how bad his ankle was, and they wouldn't let him go back in the game. And he just had him tape up his shoe, and he went back in. So, I mean, again, both sides just need to go their separate ways. Boo needs to go find another place. He needed to go find another place months ago when he decided to go AWOL for weeks on end in July and go and talk to a new agent and get rid of his other agent. And listen. Boo just needs to go on and go play somewhere else and have a good career wherever else at. I mean, sometimes it just doesn't work out. As Heupel said yesterday, sometimes it just does not work. And because Boo was kind of stuck, he needed to try to play, but Tennessee, didn't play him as much as he'd like because, he did not play as well as he did last year. And so he got frustrated. They got frustrated, and both sides will be better for a regroup. Boo will be better wherever he goes, hopefully for him. And, Tennessee will be better going forward for them.
So, Austin, as we transition away from the final Boo Carter question in the history of Vermont and Will with Austin Price at 8:20 segments on Tuesday, what stands out about the matchup with Florida? Where do you think this game is won or lost for Tennessee in the Swamp on Saturday night?
can Tennessee get off to a quick start? I've said this since Sunday when we did the locker room TV show here in Knoxville. This can't be a 12-round decision. It cannot be a 12-round decision. Tennessee's got to knock them out at some point during the fight. If this gets to a 12-round decision, that's not good for Tennessee. And I get Florida has blown fourth quarter leads. They've found ways to lose it in the fourth quarter, but nobody's record of finding ways to lose tops Tennessee in this game. Tennessee's got to get off to a quick start, much like they did in 23, except for they've got to, answer the bell on the other side of the ball on defense, get some stops, get the ball back, score some more, right? They got off to a quick start against Oklahoma, touchdown, forced a punt, driving the ball down to about the 20-yard line. Joey gets drilled, 70-yard pick, scoop and score, and that's what turned that game. You have to, again, get back to playing complementary football. Everybody's got to play well. Special teams, offense, defense, coaching, the decisions in the coaching staff have to be really good. If that happens, and Tennessee's got a chance to go down here and end a 22-year streak that started, it started after Tennessee won there in 2003 when I was still in college and Ramon was in high school.
I was right before I got there, Austin.
And Will was in middle school.
No,
not even.
School.
That was in elementary school.
He was in elementary school.
I joke. We have our Rocky Top Roundtable that comes out on BalkWest on Wednesdays, and I joke at the end of it. It's this whole thing started with Britton Colquitt's fake punt in 2005. Maybe it ends with Jackson Ross's fake punt in 2025, which we all know Heupel never does those trick plays.
Exactly.
But, hey, one can dream.
That's right.
One can dream. What is your biggest concern going into this Gainesville matchup, though? Is it the containing of Lagway, or is it the offense might not be able to run on Florida the way everybody else has at this point? Because we seem to always have that type of thing show up. The never has, always does with UT, it seems.
Correct. A game where DJ Lagway plays mistake-free, doesn't turn the football over. I mean, he's been interception-prone all year long, but all of a sudden he looks like, Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl and in this game. Or you're right, Tennessee's inability to, be able to pick up 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, those type plays. The ability to get a little north and south and play, smash mouth football.
There was somebody playing smash mouth football. Two guys that I felt like stood out big time this past weekend, man. David Hobbs and Jaden Perlotti. This is the potential you saw in them as recruits, Austin?
Absolutely. I mean, super, as my dog loses his mind, they are really, really athletic, and that goes a long, long way to, being able to find the field early. You can erase mistakes with your athleticism, and you can also make enough plays that when you have those mistakes, it doesn't affect you as much. Because, again, the worst thing that can happen is you put yourself in a position to where you've got players out there that, know where to be, but they physically can't get the job done. And in this instance, Perlotti, again, sometimes has been in the wrong place, but has made enough plays because he is athletic to get to the right place in a hurry that it makes up for it. And so, both guys have been really, 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 really talented, and they're going to be better for it a year from now when Tennessee will lean on them even more.
BalkWest Austin Price, our guest. Austin, on the way out with Tennessee not able to host recruits for the Vandy game as a part of the still sanctions they have over the program from all the Jeremy Pruitt stuff. Last opportunity to host recruits this past weekend, at least officially. What did they do with 2026 four-star edge rusher Jordan Carter, Austin, as he's reopened his commitment or his recruitment, and clearly Tennessee is continuing to look at the edge rusher position?
Well, Tennessee can host official visits for Vanderbilt.
Okay.
And technically, if they don't choose to pick that game and they want to do another game another time, they can do unofficials for the Vanderbilt game. But you look at the home schedule next year, I mean, what game are you picking to not do, right? I mean, like the home schedule next year is fantastic.
Loaded, right.
So, Jordan Carter, one that continues to trend a certain way for Tennessee, but by no means is done. Auburn, even though they don't have a head coach, is heavily in play here. I don't really understand that. I'm not sure who's going to go to a place that doesn't have a head coach. I think that's a bit of posturing from the family. Where's Georgia Tech at? They've been more willing to go big on NIL for in-state kids to keep some really good in-state kids in the state of Georgia, like Josh Petty a year ago. Mm-hmm. So that's where that one's at as we head towards mid-November. He's got visits to both Auburn and Georgia Tech coming up.
And then also we weren't able to, I don't think we got to this last week, but Legend Bay flipping to Ohio State. How big of a loss is that for Tennessee, who, yes, Austin is pretty set at the wide receiver position in this class and already kind of on the roster as these guys have played so well this year, but also would have brought a level of speed that you would have loved to have in the slot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, listen, Tennessee's going to continue to recruit Legend Bay until he signs, right? And that's what you should do, especially when you've had a kid committed for so long and you've got a good relationship with him. And your relationships are longer than the current school he's committed to's relationship. So you continue to swing there, see what happens. Other than that, we'll see what they like to do. Tennessee doesn't have to get another receiver to be okay there. I mean, they've got quite a bit coming back, and they like their young kids coming in. And Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson will get more a run a year from now. So we'll see what they'll like to do, but they'll continue to swing on Legend Bay till the end, and then see what happens.
He is Austin Price of VolQuest and On 3, joining us Tuesdays at 8:20 here on the show as Tennessee heads to the Swamp for a night game against the Gators this weekend. Thank you, Austin. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Aus.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Austin Price with us here for his weekly visit this morning. All right, Cole Kubelik has put out the 4 most likely SEC championship games in football in terms of percentage. We are in for a wild ride over these last couple of weeks. We'll talk about that next.
Genesis Diamonds presents the Holiday Love event, the biggest and final sale of the year. It's this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Enjoy store-wide savings of 20, 30, up to 35% off. They'll have engagement rings, pendants, bands, and bracelets. This is the biggest and final store-wide sale of the year. If you live here, you know this is the event everybody waits for. Acclaimed designers will be here with their entire collections. Even luxury pre-owned Rolex watches are included in this. 0-interest financing also available. And the staff at Genesis knows they can break all the rules during this 3-day, $30 million sale. Get moving on that fall engagement proposal or shop early for Christmas. Either way, reward yourself now with a stunning Rolex if you just want to. It's just, this deal is hard to pass up. Whatever the occasion is, don't miss this incredible savings event. Again, up to 30% off Genesis' amazing everyday low prices, store-wide, color gemstones, the latest designer creations, diamond classics. Get the best price of the year. It's 3 days only, this Friday through Sunday, exclusively at Genesis Diamonds. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramona Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone. The internet is no longer broken. I think that Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida fans crashed the internet, Ramona. This Cloudflare thing that was an outage that, like, there's a ton of websites that are hosted, I guess, through Cloudflare, like a big server.
Yeah.
That just crashed this morning. And that included Twitter and message boards. You can take away one of them. You can't take away our message boards and our Twitter. Lane Kiffin's out here flying his family to other SEC cities. We got to know what's going on. We will update you on the latest on that coming up here in 10 minutes. But
I told you a buddy of mine was listening, sent me a text message. And it's true with Lane. Lane don't just leave. He'll obliterate bridges.
He's got to have the drama.
He
loves the drama.
Everybody off when he leaves. He's going to have, what is it, 2, maybe 3, 4 fan bases that absolutely hate him. Vegas, there's some Tennessee fans that still hate him.
Oh, yeah.
USC.
Oh, yeah.
And now Ole Miss, if he leaves.
I don't know if USC fans hate him at this point, but I'm sure some of them.
Yeah, they probably just don't care. Yeah,
sure.
I mean, it's my bad, USC.
Big Ten powerhouse, Southern Cal, who plays Oregon this weekend, by the way. USC not out of the playoff chase. Like, very quietly controlling their own destiny to make the college football playoff.
That's somebody you got to ask the question, do they want to leave?
Lincoln Riley?
That's a long way and a lot of traveling and a lot of everything when it comes to, like, I could see him, if not Lane, him taking the LSU job.
There's one reason why that's not going to happen, because of the conference LSU plays in. Lincoln Riley does not want SEC problems. Nope. I'm serious.
Why do you coach? That's just like a player running away from competition. I wouldn't want that guy to be my head coach. Like,
everything you hear about Lincoln Riley is that all of the noise about, he kind of ducked the smoke of the SEC with Oklahoma is 100% true.
So what you're saying is he got soft hands, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, a little bit.
I joke.
Not very calloused.
My hands aren't as callous as they used to be.
Most likely SEC championship game matchups per ESPN Analytics. I got 4 of them for you. 10% chance that it's Georgia Ole Miss. 19% chance that it is Georgia versus Texas A&M. 33% chance that it's Alabama versus Texas A&M. And a 38% chance, most likely scenario, run it back, Ramon. Deja vu all over again. Georgia. Alabama, Georgia.
All of those make sense to me.
Yeah.
Every single one of those. I wouldn't be like, yeah, that's right. That's right. They earned it. Easily.
There is just so much that has to happen for us to know who's playing in the SEC championship game.
So you mean to tell me Ole Miss is willing to give Lane Kiffin the golden boot out the front door, and they're playing in the SEC championship?
Maybe.
There's a chance.
Their scenario is win plus Texas A&M loss plus Alabama loss. Bama's going to have to lose the Iron Bowl for Ole Miss to get in.
Yeah, they need some help.
Yeah. And A&M would have to lose to Texas, which,
but
I don't know, maybe.
That scenario is quite wild to me, though. All of those scenarios, as far as who plays who, makes sense to me. You said it's Georgia A&M also is one of the percentages?
One of the possible ones,
That would be a defensive juggernaut, though. Goodness.
Uh-huh. Yep. Georgia needs Alabama loss or A&M loss or an Ole Miss win and win strength of schedule over Alabama in the last week of the SEC season.
How many scenarios Georgia's in? 3 of those?
Alabama loss or A&M loss.
No. I'm talking about Cole Kublik's scenarios. It's 3 of them.
These are the scenarios. Like, this is also from Cole of how they get in. So the percent chance I'll get to in a minute, but it's they need Bama to lose to Auburn or A&M to lose to Texas, and Georgia's in, or Ole Miss beats State and has a better strength of schedule than Alabama. That would put Georgia in. It's really confusing. We just need somebody to get upset. Somebody to get upset. That way this is a little bit simpler.
Okay.
The tiebreakers make no sense. So Alabama, Georgia, 38% chance is the most likely SEC championship game matchup today, according to ESPN Analytics. Georgia versus A&M is a 19% chance. Georgia Ole Miss is a 10% chance. Georgia should feel pretty good about their chances to get in at this point.
There is no pathway that Vanderbilt gets in?
No.
No?
They have 2 losses in SEC play so far. And they got 2 SEC games left against Kentucky and Tennessee.
That Kentucky game's no throwaway for them.
Yeah, let's play, as Pardon My Take calls it, whose line is it anyway? Let's guess the line on Vandy, Kentucky. What do we think? I'll go last. Justin, I know you've been busy back there trying to fix the internet. We appreciate your efforts.
Yeah, I still can't get to Twitter for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm
Dang
on.
it. Yeah, I'm on too.
I'm on. I can't get our stream to connect.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the Twitter streaming is always our worst provider. YouTube.com/1045 The Zone TV.
I'm going to go Vanderbilt minus 10.5.
I'm going to go Vanderbilt minus 3.5.
3.5? No, you need to take Kentucky at the Thursday 3 this weekend if you think that's what the line should be. Okay.
I will. I am.
Give me Vandy minus 9.5 is what my guess is. Survey says DraftKings Sportsbook, Vandy minus 9.5.
I
promise you I didn't look.
That sounds like cheating
Justin,
written all over.
After this, I'll hold him, you kick him, okay? Simply put, he publicly embarrassed us on the radio by making us think he was a betting expert, Justin.
Lies! I did go 3-0 last week. So did Justin. We, as a show, went 8-1 on our 9 picks last weekend.
I told y'all, make money with us, man.
So...
I'm sorry.
It's not Thursday. What day is it? It's Tuesday.
I apologize.
It's Tuesday.
That's a demerit, yes.
No. All right, well, then let's guess Tennessee-Florida line. Have y'all seen that one?
I have not seen it.
No cheating.
I'm not going to give it because I'm looking at it right now.
I'll go first this time, Hawk. Tennessee minus 4.
Minus 6.5.
Ramon's closer. Minus 4.5 is the line on Tennessee and Florida.
Because you're wearing that hoodie.
It's kind of sweet, isn't it?
It is kind of nice.
Thank you, man.
You got a lot of compliments on your hockey jersey in the booth on Saturday.
I did, dude. I walked through. I got a lot of content on my metal glasses. Everybody's like, I like the shirt. I like the jersey. I love that. I was just like, oh, y'all cool, man. I appreciate y'all. I'm just trying to be fly. You know what I'm saying?
You look very fly. And you flew a final flyover with a little toy plane.
I'm glad Ashley Farrell caught the last image of the plane.
The last ride.
I've had people tell me, Ramon, it must not stop. It must not stop. By the way,
who's stopping you?
The government. No, I'm playing.
They're not coming in your DMs telling you to stop.
Those jets were loud.
Oh my gosh. My dad and I said the same thing. I was like, that is the loudest thing I've maybe ever heard in my life. Like I felt it in my ear how loud those planes were.
They weren't even that low.
Turbos.
It was crazy. It was like F-35s, I think.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Oh my goodness. Breaking the sound barrier on a Saturday.
Yeah, it was, seriously.
Coming up, Ole Miss is taking a calculated risk by giving Lane Kiffin an ultimatum. That's next.
9:02, good morning, live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Justin Hawkins. Week 11 of the NFL season wrapped up with Monday Night Football last night as the Dallas Cowboys improved to 4-5-1 on the season, beating the Las Vegas Raiders 33-16. Dak Prescott throwing for 4 touchdown passes and wide receiver George Pickens leading the way with 9 receptions for 144 yards and a touchdown. Defensive tackle Quinnen Williams in his debut since being traded from the New York Jets back at the trade deadline recorded 1.5 sacks. College hoops last night. Number 20 Tennessee Vols are 4-0 after they beat Rice 91-66. Felix Okpara had a game-high 20 points, and freshman standout Nate Ament with a 19-point and 10-rebound double-double. Tennessee shot 52% from the field. And in college football news, Virginia Tech yesterday announced that they are hiring James Franklin as their next head football coach. A month after Franklin was fired from Penn State, the Hokies are the first Power 4 football program this season to fill a head coaching vacancy. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Away we go into the fourth and final hour of your Tuesday. Hope you're having a good start to your morning on Ramon and Will, fueled by Scooters Coffee. We certainly are. Locally owned near you in Rivergate, Smyrna, Brentwood, White House, or Mount Juliet. Scooters Coffee has amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Nick Suss of the Tennessean joins us in 15 minutes. We'll talk Titans with him, bring him in on the discussion about Cam Ward and growth and expectations now with a very banged up group of human beings to catch footballs from Cam Ward. But
it's a respectful way of putting it.
Yeah.
No, you ain't wrong.
That's there's no other way to put it at this point. Ole Miss has given Lane Kiffin an ultimatum. Multiple reports are out there about this. 247 has one, On 3 has one. Stuart Mandel of The Athletic says that Ole Miss has given Lane Kiffin an ultimatum amid apparent recruitment by both LSU and Florida. Ole Miss wants an answer before the Egg Bowl against Mississippi State on November the 28th. His family has reportedly taken visits to Gainesville and Baton Rouge within the last 72 hours as he continues to consider leaving Ole Miss for a conference foe or sticking where he is. A lot of the smoke seems to point, Ramon, towards him not being the coach at Ole Miss in 2026. But Ole Miss is taking a risk here, aren't they? By giving Lane an ultimatum that this program and its long-term health and not being pushed around and led on by Lane Kiffin, that long-term health is more important than the short-term consequences against maybe the best team in the history of Ole Miss football and what they could accomplish. Could an interim coach really be in charge of Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl and the college football playoff? It is looking like that is increasingly likely.
It is, but can they call it like Lane? Can they control it like Lane and this interim coach going into the CFP? Like, they should get in. They got a really good team. Defensively, just looking at the Florida tape, they get after you. They play with a lot of spiciness, man, and just hate in their heart, and I absolutely love that for Ole Miss. I don't think this is as good as they can get. I do look at this situation and say to the AD, I say to him, you don't have to publicly do this. Okay, so what if he's flirting? Coaches flirt all the time. Y'all fire coaches all the time. Like, it's a two-way streak in that industry to me. And I think publicly going to all of these, and they're 81 to the heavy hitters. He put this information out there for them to put it out so that he showed, I'm serious, Lane. Tell me what we're going to do. No, it just don't work like that. Respectfully to Ole Miss, I say this, but what are you without Lane?
Right.
Right?
I think we're going to find out. I think it's a healthy program with resources for a lot of different coaches to be successful there relative to Ole Miss expectations. I don't know if they're going to get a coach that's going to elevate them to national title contender like this, but I do think that Lane is leaving that program because I think he's leaving at this point. He's leaving that place a lot better than he found it.
Yeah, he is.
A lot better than he found it. I think there is always a ceiling you're going to push up against when you have again, I think a fan base that cares more about the party outside the stadium than the one in it. And the level of recruit that you can get in your backyard, you have just geographical challenges being at Ole Miss versus being at an LSU or a Florida. That being said, I think there's a big opportunity there for them to just build on what Lane has done. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. They're just done as a contender at the top of the SEC because they're going to have probably have a new head coach.
So here's to your point. You mentioned the recruits when it comes down to Lane staying or going at Ole Miss. Here's why I think what Ole Miss doesn't offer you. Ole Miss doesn't offer you the ability to get cheaper when you can.
What do you mean?
Florida does in recruiting. Yeah, you might have to pay for a 5-star, but you're not paying the entire portal when it comes down. Well, you're not paying all of your money to the portal when it comes down to your sustainability the way he is at Oxford. Right now, the way I look at this situation is this. It's hard. It's only one national champion. Getting to the CFP is going to be cool, but what about next year when Lane has to go back to those same boosters and say, hey, I need just a little bit more money. I don't care how much money you got. At some point, man, somebody come to me, ask me for $20. I'm like, look, I ain't got $20 right now. You just asked me for $100 last week. I gave you $200 the week before. What I'm saying is this. He can find a cheaper way to getting to the CFP in Louisiana and in Florida than he can in Mississippi because of the recruiting bed that's just right there in his backyard.
He's got
That's
more.
what I mean.
I don't know if it's cheaper. I mean, it's still going to cost the same amount of money.
But think about how many loops and hoops you got to jump through for him to get what he's getting at Ole Miss.
He's got more avenues to be successful.
Yes, he does.
He doesn't just have to rely on the portal the way he has at Ole Miss in order to be successful.
He
that
can
I
grow
agree
it.
with.
Yes.
That I agree with. The thing is, though, are the places you're going and flirting with able to fulfill their end of the bargain to the level that Ole Miss has? Because the reason why Florida has had to move on from Billy Napier, who I still don't think is a bad football coach.
He doesn't have no structure, I feel like.
And whose fault is that? Is that the football coach's fault? Is that the athletic director's fault?
I think it's his.
I think there is plenty of blame to be given in both of those jobs on why their coaches didn't work.
Fair.
I think it's more on the coach at LSU because Brian Kelly was never a fit and was so set in his ways and didn't have the kind of coaching staff that he needed to go with one of the best GMs in college football down there putting his roster together at LSU to be able to round out and use all those resources in order to be successful. At Florida, they're just behind on NIL. Simply put, they were flat-footed when name, image, and likeness started. I mean, they just built an indoor football complex for the first time.
This is true.
They just caught up in terms of facilities at Florida. And I still am not totally confident that they are caught up in the way that they need to give Lane Kiffin what he needs to be immediately successful. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've got the NIL stuff more figured out now. Scott Strickland, the AD, maybe has caught up within that regard, and the NIL collective has caught up within that regard. I just kind of need to see it to believe it. And if I'm Lane Kiffin, I've already got that at Ole Miss. I've got the NIL war chest that I need to build a national title contender. You know why? Because I just did it. This is a national title contender right now. If I'm Lane, I've got to be really confident that I can win a national championship at one of these two places if I'm giving up the opportunity to win a national championship right now. It is so hard to be a one-loss team with 2 weeks left in the season at any place in college football. And Lane Kiffin has done it. And I think he's about to throw all of that progress away. His best chance to ever win a national championship as his family is on tours of Baton Rouge and Gainesville. I don't think this has been played out well by Lane Kiffin. I don't think he's handled this very well. I think his tweets, I think his press conferences, I just think he can't help himself. He's cleaned up a lot of his stuff off the field. He has matured. He's not the same kid that he was in 2009 coaching Tennessee. And let's just be honest and call it what it was. He acted like a kid in a lot of the things that he did. He was an adult. There were some childlike decisions made that a lot of college students were making, that he was making as the head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm not saying he's that same person. I'm saying I'm getting deja vu all over again 16 years later from 2009 with Lane Kiffin.
So here's the other part of it, though, too. The climate has allowed Lane to act like this now, though.
Yes, it has.
That's the only difference. So to your point, though, about it's two things that I think can happen because of the result of Lane picking or choosing to stay. if Lane chooses LSU, the person who takes Florida job, if their NIL already is suffering, I think it goes down even further. I think there's an exodus of players, which naturally is going to happen. Here's the issue, though, if he does choose LSU. Those coaches won because they killed it in recruiting, and there was a different climate in which all of those coaches won. We're talking about Nick, we're talking about Ogeron, and we're talking about Les Miles. This also isn't that same era. So not to say to be fair to Brian Kelly, but that was a different era in which those coaches won those national championships also. So to your point, it's not guaranteed that Lane is going to, the last 3 of the 5 coaches have been hired. That ain't true no more.
Well, but Brian Kelly wasn't a worker like the 3 guys you mentioned before him. Brian Kelly, from everything you hear and read, was not did not have the work ethic to succeed in the SEC. I'll just put it that way.
Okay, understood. But I don't think the way that offensive line was set up at LSU this year was built to be a national championship.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I mean, they replaced a lot from last year. Yeah.
And they did pour in a lot of money just to pour in money, though. They're not getting any return right now. And I don't think it's all his fault from Barry and Brown.
I mean, Ole Miss remade its entire defensive front 7. They look good. You getting the right Are you coaching up those players once they're on campus?
Right players.
I don't think that staff did. I think that they've got a really good roster acquisition process at LSU, and that staff didn't make the most of it. I mean, their offensive coordinator, head coach, the system. I think there are a ton of issues of why it didn't work at both Florida and LSU beyond just who the head coach was. It's just going to be interesting. This is unprecedented.
It is.
Having a guy coaching a national title contender that's been given an ultimatum before Thanksgiving on him making a decision. I don't blame Ole Miss at all. But I do think they are taking a big calculated risk that they could sacrifice a national championship in 2025 and early, obviously, in the calendar year of 2026 in order to set the standard and get an answer. Set the standard long-term for the way their coach and AD relationship is going to be and get an answer from Lane Kiffin. It's just, you're taking a risk that you could still maybe meet that ceiling with an interim, more so than Lane causing you distractions and issues in that locker room, which could also cost you.
Also, let me clear up something, too, because I know Barry and Brown's from the city, as people might be listening. What I'm saying is this. For as good as Barry and Brown was to Kentucky and what he is as an athlete, the money that I'm sure LSU paid to get him there and his reasons to go on to LSU, they have not hit that ceiling into anything that they could have done with him. They've
not made the most of his talents.
Imagine him at A&M.
Mm-hmm. With a line that can protect for the quarterback long enough for his speed to get open.
What a defense is going to get him the ball in his hand with punts.
Exactly.
Like, he made the right decision because of wide receiver you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, boy, I bet he wish he went to Ohio State or A&M or even Texas for that matter if he could, which I'm sure he had those options.
Coming up, we've had a lot of discussion the past couple of days about Cam Ward, about the Titans making changes out of the bye week. Nick Suss, Titans beat writer for the Tennessean, will join us. Former beat writer, by the way, of Ole Miss football. See if he's got a little bit of jealousy of his colleagues covering the fiasco in Oxford. We'll talk Titans, hit the headlines with our good friend Nick Suss coming up next.
Is your concrete in need of repair? Maybe your sidewalk has shifted on you. Your driveway cracked and sinking too, or your porch steps have moved. Shifting concrete can create a dangerous situation, just trip hazard around your home. It's also a big eyesore. It's Ramon Foster, and whatever is going on with your concrete, call United Structural Systems. Ask them about their polyurethane foam injections. You've heard about USS for a long time. It's the same company that's provided superior foundation repair and waterproofing to Middle Tennessee since 1994. Well, they can also fix your sunken or settling concrete. USS uses polyurethane foam injections to lift and repair your sinking concrete in a matter of minutes. Lifted concrete can be walked on immediately or even driven on after about 30 minutes. So don't go through the long, expensive process of ripping out and replacing concrete. Reach out to the company I trust, man, and that's USS. You can go to their website at USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com, or call them 615-488-7855. United Structural Systems.
Urbana Will is fueled by Scooters Coffee on 104.5 The Zone as Hour 4 continues. Wrapping up your Tuesday show. Ramon Foster and Will Bowling present and accounted for. Joined by Tennessee Titans beat writer for the Tennessean, Nick Suss, this morning at Nick Suss, where you get him on Twitter. Nick, I know you covered Ole Miss football for a time. Like, are you jealous at all of your colleagues getting to cover the fiasco? Or are you glad to just wash your hands of Kiffin watch at Oxford right now?
So I have a running bit with friends in the media industry where anytime any of them have to cover a coaching search, I will Venmo them $1 for their trouble. And as somebody who has covered both LSU and Ole Miss in my time, this is going to bankrupt me. I am too close. I know too many people. I am getting too many texts about this entire saga. None of it surprises me. It is very fun to watch from afar. No jealousy on my end.
I love it. Hey, there's even one report linking Lane Kiffin to the Tennessee Titans. So who's to say? No, I'm to say that's not going to happen. Nick, when you look at this Titans team right now, coming out of the performance on Sunday against Houston, how do you begin to evaluate Cam Ward's progress coupled with what he's got to work with right now? It feels like there's a lot of narrative, a lot of talk about Cam, a lot of panic about Cam. Nick, where are you at with the progress that he may or may not have made on Sunday, and with 7 games to go, just where he is in his rookie season so far?
I think it's probably fair to say 2 things here. One thing, he is getting better. Second thing, his starting point was so far below or behind what we are used to seeing from rookie quarterbacks that his version of getting better still has him pretty significantly behind expectation for a number 1 quarterback. And whether that means it's time to ring the panic bell, that's up to each individual. I don't think the Titans are ringing the panic bell, but I do think there are, significant growth areas that need to be attended to, whether it's on the field stuff. We'll talk probably a bunch about mechanics and decision making and some of just the beats of being a quarterback, or if it's off the field stuff, if it's stuff about how he approaches the game, how he adjusts to the game, how he reacts to seeing teams for the second time, seeing schemes for the 4th, 5th time. I talked about this a lot last week of the Texans are one of the heaviest use cover 3 and cover 4 teams in the NFL, and he'd already faced the 2 or 3 other heaviest used cover 3, cover 4 teams in the NFL, and that should be something he's used to. And then it comes out for 3 quarters and the success isn't there. And we can talk about injury, and we can talk about pass rush, and we can talk about a scheme that is required to get the ball out quickly, and it all works in concert together. But the fundamental reality is results industry, and the results aren't there. So it's getting a little better. I like what I see more than I did in September, which is good. But I liked what I saw in late October and early November from Levis last year, too. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say that wasn't the case. And then it all fell apart. So I do need to see that major jump before I can just say, oh, it's a little better, so check that box.
Nick, how much does do these 7 games affect the plan for Cam Ward? Like this idea that Cam is going to need a QB competition. We had a caller suggest that in training camp of 2026. You've got some that don't even want to touch that subject and say, no, everything this offseason is about making everything around Cam better so he's got a better chance to be successful. How much of that is up for debate, is up for adaptation, Nick, over these final 7 games to where, hey, if he's great, maybe you do change what you try to do with Cam in the offseason. Or if it doesn't go well, maybe it's time to have some tougher conversations.
I think it's time for tougher conversations, but I don't think that includes competition.
Sure.
I think that's a little bit strong. I think that some serious conversations need to be had about what does success look like for Cam Ward. I remember back in February, March, April, when we were talking the pre-draft, there was a lot of conversation about, is Cam Ward the type of quarterback who can be the system, who can succeed independent of what's around him in a way that Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and some of these guys have seemingly done in recent years? I think through 10 games, the answer has been an unequivocal no. Does that mean it will never be that? Does that mean he can't develop into that guy? It's getting harder to say yes, but we will see. And when you think of things that way, if you have determined through a year, if these 7 games, your conclusion is he's not going to be the type of quarterback who can do this on his own, you do have to restructure how you look at acquiring talent. Do you go get backs and receivers who are better at making plays after the catch rather than backs and receivers who are better at stretching the field? Do you go get linemen who are more suited for a run-based system or for a play-action-based system rather than people who are going to fit what Cam does with his scrambling and improvising? Do you go try and build defense first, try and build through the secondary and the pass rush and say, even if the offense is lagging behind, we're going to shut people down there? You're going to have to make decisions like that, because if the plan, and I'm not saying this was the plan, but if the plan was you have a quarterback who is going to win on his own regardless of what's around him, I think we can say conclusively he's not there yet.
We're joined by Nick Suss of the Tennessean, talking Titans this morning. Nick, with that being said, also, there's strategy that has to be in place moving forward. Getting the number 1 overall pick has to play a part in it. But the other side of it, too, if you don't want to see Cam just, to your point, drag people to the finish line with him, then he's got to have help. When you look at what they may have to do free agency-wise, there's a stadium being built that they're paying some out of pocket for, too. I think that's been documented. How do they attack this? Like, this will be, of course, you sign Zeitler, you got Dan Moore, there's other guys you paid about $10 million plus or had on this roster and traded guys away. Do you also still have to be aggressive going into free agency looking into next year?
My assumption, if we're talking about aggression, is it'll have a lot more to do with volume than with size of contract. Mm-hmm. I think that if you look at what Washington did heading into Jaden Daniels' rookie year, obviously they had a bunch of success there. They had close to $100 million to spend, and rather than go out and sign a bunch of guys to $60, $70, $80 million contracts, I think they signed something like 20 or 25 free agents, and they completely recycled the roster over. That obviously has not worked as a 2-year plan. Washington has been hurt by injuries this year. Jaden Daniels has been hurt a lot. They haven't been able to repeat that success. But if you have all this money to spend, I don't know how much time you've spent looking at the free agent class, especially at the positions that really matter for the Titans right now, your edge rushers, your wide receivers, your cornerbacks. You'll probably be able to spend some significant change to get a corner if you need one. But that receiver market, that edge rusher market, you're probably not going to be able to find a true number 1 there. So that is where you go get 3 or 4 veterans who can do what, let's use the example of Jihad Ward, who has been a bargain bin free agent pickup, who has paid great results. If you go get guys like that, if you use your free agency strategy to not target the number 1, number 3, and number 6 guy like they did a couple of springs ago with Ridley and Snead and Cushenberry and Pollard and all that, if instead of splurging, you lean on filling holes with dependable players and then try and get better with those draft picks, try and find your A1 players in the first and second rounds, I think there's a way to rebuild, but you got to hit and you got to develop. And that's something the Titans have obviously been lacking in the last 5 years.
Nick, we're past the trade deadline, but I got to ask you again because the guy sounds fed up, and people are going to hate me for bringing this up again because the trade deadline is done. But after hearing Jeffrey Simmons yesterday, the biggest thing that stood out was, man, I'm tired of losing. Does he survive the offseason? He's got new agencies. He's got a guy that has influence. You can pay him, but that statement of, man, I'm tired of losing and hearing that frustration of basically now finger pointing. I don't think anybody has an issue with it, but Nick, that's kind of hard to overlook when you're going into year 8 for Jeff next year.
Yeah, and I go back to something that Jeff said to media on Thursday. I don't know if you guys were listening as closely to his press conference when he came back from injury and practiced for the first time, but he made it pretty clear that Borgonzi and Brinker outlined the plan, outlined the goals about this organization to him. And he admits at first he did not like it and did not agree. And it took him some time to come to the understanding of what the Titans are trying to do. And obviously Borgonzi values Jeff's leadership. Jeff as a symbol in the locker room does not want to lose somebody who younger players can look to as that is how you become a superstar, not only in this league, but in this locker room. And I think there's a lot of value there. The flip side, I will say, I think you're going to be able to get more from trading Jeffrey Simmons in February than you would have at the trade deadline. I think his value will be even higher coming off of this season. If it ends up as an all-pro type season like we think it is, I think you can get a lot of value from him. So if new representation and if Guy is fed up coming off of, this will be 4 straight losing seasons for the Titans if everything goes the way we think. Oh no, it's guaranteed 9 losses already. So that's a lot to endure for a guy who is in some ways languishing through his prime on a team that is at the bottom of the league. So I'm not saying it will happen, but I have been saying since September that the smarter move would be to trade Jeffrey Simmons in the spring if you're trying to do so.
See, it's not just me.
No, it's not just you, Ramon. You and Ramon Foster have that in common, Nick. Nick Suss at the Tennessean with us. Nick, it feels like the Titans' struggles in the run game have been under-discussed because of how much we have broken down the pass game and the offensive line and Cam Ward and the injuries, bringing a lot of different faces in at wide receiver. How surprised are you that this run game hasn't taken off in maybe some of the ways we saw in training camp, and that you have a game against Houston like we did on Sunday where Tony Pollard averages 2.2 yards per carry, Tajay Spears 4 carries for 3. I know that's a good Houston defense over there, but did you expect more from this offense on the ground this season?
I don't want to get crucified, but not really.
Okay.
I saw what we all saw in training camp. I was at every single practice. I know that the run game looked better than the pass game, but the pass game looked so dreadful that comparatively something that looked okay ended up looking really strong. And you've got 2 running backs who, one has a pretty well-documented injury history, and the other has, throughout his entire career, been less effective as a solo back than he has as a platoon back. This is not a dominant running back room. It's a good one. I think there's talent there, but I don't think it is necessarily built to be one of the league's best. And I think that when you are playing, when 7 points is a deficit that's really tough to overcome, and you are always in comeback mode, you're not going to have an effective running game. And I don't want to reduce it simply to the other team should hope to win the coin toss, try and score a touchdown on the first drive, and then the Titans are on their heels for the rest of the game. But it feels like that sometimes. And that is not the recipe for having a dominant Tony Pollard, Tajay Spears season.
Nick, J.C. Latham certainly catches a lot of heat and a lot of headlines for the false start penalties and the 3 false starts, the 4 penalties overall on Sunday. And then you see Next Gen Stats say that he gave up 0 pressures against Will Anderson Jr. the entire game. How do you balance some of the good with obviously the very loud bad and the penalties, and what stood out to you just catching up with J.C. Latham in the locker room Sunday about how he is managing through all of these things and some positives, yet also some very glaring negatives?
Yeah, not to sidestep that, because I think that's an interesting thing, but thank you for setting me up for something else that I've been ruminating on.
Perfect.
So 5 3-and-outs this weekend.
Yes.
Do you know how many of them had a negative play? Like this whole thing we've been talking about for 2 years with the Titans of staying on schedule and penalties and all that. Do you know how many of the 5 3-and-outs had a negative play?
Well, I know of all of J.C. Latham's false starts, the Titans scored on those drives. So I don't know if there were too many.
It's one out of the 5.
Wow.
4 of their 5 3-and-outs were just stuffed runs and incomplete passes. No penalties, no sacks. Like, this whole narrative of, we just got to stay on schedule. Just stay on schedule. This was just bad football. Like, we can complain about the JC penalties, and we can complain about some of the holdings and some of the cadence issues. They ended up scoring, as you alluded to, on 3 of the 4 penalty situations with JC. And with some of the snap cadences and the aborted issues, those were drives that they overcame. It didn't necessarily matter that they were off schedule. They were able to overcome that. So that is a positive. But the flip side is why weren't you effective on the drives where you theoretically could have been on schedule, where sacks and penalties and negative runs weren't knocking you backwards? That's something to talk about. That's just losing football. And that happened again with Houston the first time when they lost 26-0. That was not a game where there were high penalty volumes. That was not a game where there were high turnovers. That was not a game where there were many sacks until the fourth quarter. It was just a game where they lost. And Houston's got the best defense in the NFL, and that's going to happen. But I think it's worth remarking on that we can't just sit here and say, oh, it's off schedule. That's the issue.
Very fair.
Nick Suss of the Tennessean with us. Y'all go check him out on Twitter and just at the Tennessean in general. The conversation is always good is what I'm getting at. So when it comes down to the judgment of this season, now we're at the finger-pointing side. As somebody has covered this team and seen it, can it get worse?
I looked this up. I'm pretty sure there is only one team since 2010 that has gained fewer yards through 10 games than the Titans have. So I guess technically it could have been worse. Can it continue getting worse? Maybe. I don't know. I think that when we talk about finger pointing and frustration, Ramon, you would know way better than me, but I think that's just in the moment the game just ended type stuff. I don't think we're going to walk into the locker room Wednesday and there's going to be divisions and people have their backs turned to each other. I think football's football and people are going to deal with it and people are going to move on. I don't think it's going to be hardcore internalized. I asked Lloyd Cushenberry yesterday, do you think the offense is as frustrated as the defense? And he was just like, yeah, I think so. Like, they probably are. The side of the ball that is floundering knows that's happening. Nobody's happy with this. Can it get worse? I mean, they've already played by just record faced. They've played the toughest schedule in the NFL thus far because the Colts twice and the Broncos and the Rams, that's a lot of teams that are competing for number one seeds, the Patriots as well. They've played a lot of good teams. They coming through are going to still have some pretty tough games on the schedule ahead, but I don't know. I think that it is more likely to stay the same than it is to get worse or better.
That's the only reason I just brought it. You heard in that Jeff audio, somebody said, AK had the game ball. Now that's down the drain. That's
Yeah, that happened. That is a thing.
It did feel like, Nick, there was a bit more frustration in that locker room and just being on the sideline. I haven't seen maybe I don't want to say finger pointing. I'm not saying they were, I wasn't down there, to be fair, until the 2-minute warning when I go down for home games. But it did feel like, Nick, there was more frustration boiling over after that game than a locker room that I can remember this year. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair, but I also think that, like, I'm not going to name names if that has not gotten out, but I was standing right next to the people who were making that game ball joke. There were smiles.
Okay.
That was not people pounding their fists against a wall. That was two vets kind of picking on each other.
Sure.
And the same thing happened after the Chargers game, where some of the defensive players were like, 6 sacks, could have been 10, could have been 12.
Wow.
Wow.
There's truth in jokes, Nick.
Yeah, I'm not saying that none of this is true.
Right.
But what I'm saying is I don't think this is happening because they're mad. I think that's happening because they're a little bit incredulous.
Sure.
We're doing our job. Look at that. That's coming through. The defensive front, which I will take the L here.
Yeah.
I thought the defensive line was going to be, or the pass rush rather, was going to be the weakest part of this team for the entire season. I did not think there would be any strength, especially not after the preseason, after camp, when they couldn't get any rush going against this Titans offensive line. I did not think this would be nearly as successful, but it has been. So, yeah, I give them credit for continuing to do their job. Yesterday, something Jihad Ward said kind of stuck with me, of people were kind of getting to well, you've been on a lot of losing teams. You don't have a contract for the future. You're kind of a mercenary at this point. What keeps you going? And at one point, he just admitted, I like having fun. I want to go out there and have fun. And I do think that for some of these vets, for some of these defensive players, that's showing. Like, even if the team is losing, they are still enjoying going out and being badasses. Like, they're playing well.
It's fair. Nick Suss of the Tennessean joining us. All good stuff at Nick Suss, where you get him on Twitter covering the Titans for the Tennessean. Nick, thank you as always, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah. Happy to help y'all.
Yes, sir. Nick Suss with us here this morning. That is the exact reason why we have people like Nick on the show, is to give that added context and clarity into conversations in the locker room. You were bothered by some of that.
I am.
Not by what Nick said.
No,
but
no,
by
Nick was phenomenal.
By Nick's info. Let's talk about it. What bothered Ramon Foster about what we learned this morning from Nick Suss coming up next?
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Good people, nobody wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or an electrical emergency at all. I'm telling you right now, we're getting closer to the holiday season, more people coming over, weather colder, people coming in and out of the house. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong. What I'm happy to tell you is this, is Hiller can fix all of those issues for you. And they're very upfront and honest about it, too. The price you're told is the price that you'll actually pay. There are no hidden fees or surprises on your bill when you get your bills. They're going to solve your problems quickly. Also, they believe in 100% satisfaction. And their motto is happy you'll be or the service is free. If you're not satisfied with what they've done or if they've done it wrong, they'll either give you your money back or do all they can to actually fix it. That's just what they do. Their techs also are very professional, experienced, and trustworthy. And they're all background and drug screened also. When they're on their way, you'll receive a photo of the tech and a link to track them in real time so you're not sitting around wasting time. Again, if you have any issue, again, with your plumbing, HVAC, or electrical, reach out to the people I trust, man. You can go to their website at happyhiller.com.
Ramona Will, 104.5 The Zone, wrapping up the show. Ramona's had time to collect his thoughts and to not be so hurt. You okay?
I am, man.
We had a good interview with Nick Suss of the Tennessean. You can hit that wherever you download podcasts. You can download that audio. You had a not nervous, you had a very sad look on your face by the end of it.
I had no idea. I had resting sad face. This is what RSF. Yeah, hey, it's my actual initials, Ramon Centel Foster. Resting sad face, man. And the YouTube chat called me out on it. I was just like, listening to Nick paint that picture was horrendous.
Not that he did it wrong. He did a really good job of painting how bad some things are right.
And the only reason I bring this up is because I was spoiled in my career. I was. Even as undrafted, I hated how it started, but my point is we won. Even when we lost, we knew winning was around the corner. Even when we lost 4 games in a row, I knew winning was around the corner. There's a formula that we have that we're going to mix this up and you going to do this. We're going to get this guy back and we're going to win. And we're going to win with streaks. Like, there's been no streaking winning here in a while. It's been over a year since they've won a football game inside of Nissan Stadium. Mm-hmm. That's unheard of. Mm-hmm. From a fan base perspective, like the reason I'm sitting here listening to Nick paint this picture, I wanted to go mindless to hear him say what he had to say because it was just like the longer he went, the darker it got. And I was just thinking to myself, this shouldn't be like NFL teams aren't built to be like this. They shouldn't be like this at all.
Yeah, the league is built for everyone to be somewhat competitive on any given Sunday.
1 or 2 bad seasons?
Any given Sunday.
But this dysfunction that Nick speaks of, and now I asked him a question about the finger pointing. The finger point ain't supposed to be justified. I at least supposed to be able to point to the other side. I was like, well, y'all suck too. You can't do anything on third down. You can't say anything.
Meaning finger pointing from the defense
to the offense.
to the
offense. Like the offense should at least be able to point back and be like, well, y'all can't stop the run. They are.
Yeah, the defense is playing better. Mm-hmm.
And then when you look at like to try to find answers, it's guys that you don't even want to get answers from. Nobody wants, you said it a second ago, we won't break. Nobody wants an answer just like NFL Y from Mason Kinsey. Nobody wants an answer that your offensive line can't stay on side. Nobody wants an answer that now we got to start having questions about is Cam Ward or bust. Nobody wants to talk about. They spent so many tens of millions of dollars on this offensive line, and they're trash right now. Nobody wants to answer or have the conversation about the TV won't even pan up to the third level because nobody's up there in the stadium.
Yeah.
This is sad.
I think to Nick's point, he is right and really interesting about how on the 5-3 announce the Titans had on Sunday against the Texans, only one of those drives featured a negative play or penalty. I think there is an oversimplification about, well, if we just put ourselves in third and manageable, we'll have more success. Unfortunately, that was not the case on Sunday. You were unable to convert on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 5, and 3rd and 4. That's 4 different instances when you were in 3rd and 5 or less. You took a sack to Daniil Hunter on 3rd and 5. You threw a swing pass to Tajay where he slipped and went backwards 3 yards on 3rd and 4. You ran Tajay out of shotgun for no gain on 3rd and 3, and you had E.J. Speed break up a pass at the line of scrimmage on a 3rd and 2. The Titans were comparatively better on 3rd and long than they were 3rd and short on Sunday. They actually did get themselves into more manageable situations. Yet it was actually conversions on 3rd and 17, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 8 that allowed them to score points. First drive, you were complete to DK on 3rd and 8, complete to Tajay on 3rd and 13, set up a field goal. And obviously we know what happened on 3rd and 17. You threw a 39-yard bomb to Chig.
That ain't sustainable.
No.
To your point.
Right. Like you've got to be able to have that level of success actually when you're supposed to, which is in 3rd and manageable. They got into 3rd and manageable. And other than a check at the line Cam made to throw a 14-yard ball to Mason Kinsey on 3rd and 6 for a 14-yard game, that was one of their middle-of-the-road completions. And then again, we talk a lot about Cam Ward's got to scramble more and be more decisive when he decides to run. 10-yard run for first down on 3rd and 4. If there's one thing I want to see more of from Cam Ward at the end of this season, by the end of the season, it is that. Tuck it and run. Tuck it and run when you need to. Get out of there.
Yo, and y'all want me to buy PSLs. It's hard to when it look like this.
Oh, you can get a Nissan Stadium PSL. Or you can get a Nissan Stadium ticket for no PSL. But
well, that's true.
New Nissan Stadium sales are going to be fine regardless of what they look like short term. That stadium is so awesome. Like, honestly, and again, like, it's just the fact of the matter is that,
but
they're going like hotcakes either way.
How many Titans fans are buying them?
I think a lot. Yeah, I do.
I hope so, because I'll say this. It won't always be like this.
Yeah.
It just, I hope.
But it is right now.
Cleveland still is.
Let's not be that. Back at it tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., bright and early. To start off your Wednesday morning. Looking forward to it.
It will be. It won't always be like this.
We promise Ramon's also looking forward to it.
Am I? Am I really,
Question
man?
mark?
Your Twitter fingers, y'all, and your mic is always hot. This. Peace. Bye. Love y'all.